Welcome to Roosh Hour number 62. As you see, I am in a new location because things got a little too hot in my previous home. The regime found out where I was living and they came after me. There were helicopters, federal armed agents, but I'm smarter than them. I dug a tunnel under the home I was in, under the safe house, and I escaped unharmed. The feds do not know where I currently am. And I continue to speak the truth without their interference. So I know you're expecting 3 hours of bad news right now. You want me to review how the world is degrading, how Satan is corrupting innumerable souls, how the gays and the tranny freaks are dominating the cultural spaces, how the demonic politicians are applying their boot on our faces. But I'm not going to do that today. No. I'm just going to do a call-in show because I don't think our goal is to know every bad thing that's happening in the world and carry that as a burden, because that, I can notice, has put some people into a little bit of despondency. And I don't want to encourage that. Let me show my call-in number. I'm going to take calls. No topic is off limits. You can talk about whatever you want. If you're an international caller, the full international call-in list is in the description box on DLive. Oh, wait, that's the wrong thing. Oops. Oh, there it is. Now, just know when you call in, there's going to be other people waiting behind you, so please don't overstay your welcome. Just say what you need to say. Please, no monologues. And, of course, before I get started, I have to say that this stream is brought to us by my new book, American Pilgrim, which a lot of you have bought. You can buy American. Wow, that cover really stands out, that bright yellow. You can buy this wherever paperbacks are sold, and also an ebook. Just go to my website, rooshvstore.com. It's a 400-page tour de force. Look, my picture's in the back. So if you want to support me, you can buy that or give me a super chat, and the link for super chats are below. I must say that the response on my book so far has been more positive than I thought. I thought that it would be a rough transition to go from fornication expert to seeker in Christ, but the transition has been smoother than I thought. All right, let's see if anyone is waiting on hold. Yes, there are a couple. Let me remember how to operate this thing. Okay, I think I do this, and then I do this. Hello, caller, you're now live.
Yes, hello, Roosh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And where are you calling from?
I am calling from, I've spoken to you before. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Jersey, okay. And what is going on?
Yes. I had a question for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's the point of this.
Well, now that you can hear me, I was saying, what arguments would you personally make to somebody, like a lot of people say, if you're against global homo, you're doing it for religious reasons. What would you say will probably be like a good secular argument for arguing against LGBT and feminism and things like that?
You're going to have a problem when you do that, because all morality, what is right and wrong, has been told to us or comes from God, comes from his teachings, the Ten Commandments, the Beatitudes, the workings of the Holy Spirit are conscious that God installed in us. That's what tells us what is right and wrong. So how can you convince someone what is wrong without using that? So then you're going to be using an opinion that, what power is going to be behind that. So I get the point that you want to convince secular people that it's wrong, but it's wrong because God has deemed it so, not because we can figure out a scientific rationale. So I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to convince people. And what has happened is, when you remove God from society, every generation loses more of the traditions that their parents had. So every generation is getting worse and worse, but they're getting better at rationalizing the morality that they lost. So that's the problem. So I don't know how to do it. So what you really are asking is, how can we spread the faith? How can we touch people's heart? How can we open their hearts to receive God? That's what the real problem is. Because without him, as the Bible said, without Jesus Christ said, without me, you can do nothing. Nothing good comes without God. So you want to do good without God? I don't know how you could do that.
Okay, I understand. I also had another question regarding the Orthodox faith.
Okay.
Yes. Regarding the Orthodox faith, you already know that the Catholic Church has been subverted. We know that a lot of Protestant churches are being subverted. They have pride flags, and they're preaching feminism and female pastors. Catholics are kind of falling away, not falling away from the faith, but their churches have started to embrace more liberation theology. What would you say? Because the reason I asked you this question is because I saw the Greek Orthodox Patriarch in the United States marching with BLM. I saw the one in the Armenian Orthodox Church marching with BLM in LA. What would you say? How can we keep subversion out of the church from being subverted by leftism?
See, it looks like, from what the last book of the Bible, Revelations, has said, is that the great apostasy, Christ said, when I come back, will I find faith? And in the context he said it, the answer is almost basically no. So the faith is going to be a great falling away. One church at a time, whether Orthodox or not, Catholic or not, will fall until the end, until there's just the remnant that is left. So again, this is a spiritual problem. It is sad what's happening. I'm curious about the Armenian priest or bishop that walked with BLM. I haven't heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I know the Greek Orthodox Church is having some problems in the United States. And of course, we know the troubles that the Catholic Church have. I think one at a time, Satan is going to get them all. And in the church I'm in, the Armenian Church, you haven't heard a lot of woke ideologies coming from them, is because it's a very small church. So why would Satan put a lot of energy into the Armenian Church currently? So he's going to focus on the big ones first, Catholic Church, and then the Greek Orthodox. But how to stop that? That's really a problem that the bishops should be attempting to solve. The elders of the church. They, have married themselves to the bride of Christ, to the church. That's really their responsibility, their duty. And if they don't serve that duty, well, they're going to have to answer to God. But for what us, a layman, can do in terms of a church, I think we can be a good example in our church when we worship there. We can participate in the community. But how to avoid subversion from the worldly forces, which I think these church subversions come from the CIA. How to stop that? We don't have that power. So really, the bishops are at the front line to stop that.
Mm, okay,
Yeah.
I understand. And one more question.
Sure, sure.
One more. Yes. Like I said, I've been a big fan of yours since you were doing PUA, and I'm just flattered that you've changed your life around. It's just been awesome and amazing, and I truly admire that. So, there's one more question. What would you say? How much feet can you rest upon? You said each generation is worse than the last. Would you say? A lot of people blame millennials. Which generation would you say is more responsible for the current situation we've put ourselves in?
Is this a setup to blame the boomers?
No,
um,
no, no. I just want to hear your side of the argument.
yeah, how far back do you want to go? Do you want to go back to the big schism of the church in 1054? I know Father Seraphim Rose goes back that far. Do you want to go back to? Do you want to idealize the 1950s as the height of material happiness and say that's everything was fine there, even though the faith was already greatly eroded? So it just depends on how much historical knowledge you have, because you can go really far back. In the modern times, I do think that the boomers accelerated the trend. So the faith was already being lost. It wasn't hunky dory in 1950. From the material standpoint, yes. I mean, you can look at the photos. Materially, 1950s was great. This is why so many secular conservatives idealize that. But from a spiritual perspective, we don't know what was going on with those souls at that time. They were comfortable, yes. They had beautiful houses and very homogenous neighborhoods. But what was the state of their souls, and where did they go after they died? When you add that perspective, then it's not as heavenly as maybe some people want to talk about. But I would say that that the boomers really unleashed Pandora's box. They accelerated it. So we were already heading in that direction anyway. And I'm Generation X. We took what the boomers gave us, the free love. We started to add lifestyles. We were the ones who started traveling. It was me who was at the forefront of teaching pickup abroad, pushing lifestyles, bodybuilding, things like that. So it wasn't, I don't want to blame the boomers. Generation X added to it. And then, Generation X started to add the homo to it. And the millennials really took the gay and made the gay the main dish, and then now the tranny stuff is coming. So it's really, it's just getting worse. If you don't see mass repentance, if you don't see people turning to God on a larger scale than, say, a couple hundred people watching me, then yeah, you're just going to continue like that. But we as Christians, we don't have to worry about that. I mean, our place beside the right hand of the Father is secure as long as we maintain our faith, no matter what happens to the world around us. So yeah, it's distressing. And if you focus on it constantly, like I mentioned earlier, if you focus on this news constantly, will put you in despair, especially as they start abusing children in such a public way. But that's something that, we have to maintain the faith, trust in God's plan. His plan is perfect. It had to be this way to save as many souls as that will be saved. If we change just one little facet of this plan, of this world, it would be worse than it is now, even though that's hard to imagine. So that's what I would say.
Okay. I think we're entering another dark age.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Let's go into the next caller. Hello, caller. You're now live.
Can you hear me, Roosh? Hello.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. What's up? How are you?
Where are you calling from?
From Portugal.
Portugal.
Yeah.
Oi, tudo bem? Or that's the
Tudo bem, tudo
Brazilian.
bem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
you speak some Portuguese. That's nice. It's very good.
Eu falo português muito bem, porque eu morei no Brasil, no Rio.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's
Thank
actually
you.
pretty good.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing.
I like
Yeah,
to
I'm
impress
a bit with
people.
that Brazilian accent, but yeah, that's pretty good. Congrats, man. I wasn't expecting this.
Obrigado.
All right.
Yeah.
So I just want to make some quick comments about your new book and just
Oh,
some information as to the civilizational state that we are in Portugal right now. I think you would benefit from this information. I don't know if anyone from Portugal already called you, but yeah.
okay.
And so I'm about three-quarters from your new book, American Pilgrim.
Okay.
And first of all, I just want to say thank you for having the courage and the effort being put in to do such a transition work into this kind of book, which is very, very much different from what you were used to doing. And yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm taking a tremendous value out of it. I eventually seen all your vlogs when you did them, and just I want to say congrats and thank you for this book. And I hope there's more on the way.
Thank you so much. Yes. And I hope that you watching the vlogs kind of helps with the book because it gives like the visual aspect to it.
Exactly. I once I'm finished, I'm gonna rewatch them to get some
Great.
more context.
Good. Good. Well, I'm glad, it was when I was writing this book, I thought, this was still early on. I was like, no one's going to read this. I mean, my whole audience has been built up on teaching how to get lay tips. And now I'm writing a Christian memoir. No one will buy this, but I didn't care. I have stories to tell. I like talking, as you know. So I said, I'm going to write this book. And even if just a few people are touched, then that's fine. But so far, I can tell you that the response has been very good. So I'm thankful that looks like this book is going to do well.
Amazing. That's very, very good to hear. I'm actually been following you for quite some time now, but I think I caught you in your sort of transition phase, and I actually ended up buying your book game. I know you're no longer supporting that book, but
Burn that book.
and
It's
your
trash.
articles.
Trash.
Yeah, but let me just say this. Part of it, and especially when it came to eventually marrying a decent woman, actually it helped me a bunch in my life in general. Even if I didn't, I was looking for game advice per se, but I knew that the book wasn't only about that, and so I still have the book. I'm not gonna burn it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah.
Okay,
And
good.
just want to say one quick thing about the state of affairs when it comes to teaching here in Portugal, and I think you really want to hear this.
Okay.
And so I have a little brother, which he's 17, so he's in senior year of high school, and the educational program that they are teaching in our schools is actually changing. Like, I don't live in a metropolitan area. It's I know if you're talking about like the scale of an American city, it's like less than a little village. I don't know, maybe like 20,000 people live here. Maybe, I think that's a good number. But anyway, it's a small school, and they instead of having one particular course that you were used to have, where you would just get a head start on your homework, or just pretty much clarify some doubts with a specific teacher, they removed this 2-hour period, and they placed someone there, which they don't call teachers, they don't call professors, they call them facilitators. And I'm translating literally here, but you get the point. Like,
Facilitators. Are
Yeah,
they gay
facilitators.
groomers? Are they grooming those kids for sexual abuse?
I didn't want to say
Because
gay
that's what my
grooming, but
instinct is telling me. Yeah.
yeah. And so they here in Portugal, they are just starting to do it. I don't know. I assume that it is much worse in like the metropolitan cities, but they are actually starting to doing this here, and it's really concerning because they don't start by going outright SJW, try to SJW the kids. They start to ask questions about sexes and how many sexes and what would you do in this situation, and they made them do this role play where someone, a little boy or a girl, would be like a gypsy woman that had
like a child prostitute
child, and
Sorry.
Yeah, you were saying?
It sounds to me that the goal of these non-teachers is to sexualize the children as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because why else would they be there? They already have the normal teachers. And I think Drag Queen Storytime was a prelude to this. So you're going to have full-time employees of the state trying to make your child gay or a tranny. And we already have, I don't know if you heard, there was a story in the United States where a Catholic father said that the pediatrician, the child doctor, he takes his teenage boy, asked the boy if he's comfortable in his gender. So this grooming program of instilling doubt in these impressionable young men that, you're not what God made you as. You're really, if it's a girl, you're a boy. And don't you know that we have the tools to help you to change your sex? So what you're telling me is it's going to be a multi-level attack. It's not just going to be in the schools. It's going to be with medicine, social services, the government, media. Satan is not dumb. I mean, he's not going to just say, get the doctors to do it. He is going to corrupt multiple layers of the culture to get as many children. Because I'll tell you what, it's very difficult to be gay and go back to it. Thankfully, actually, we've seen Milo. He has made some moves on repenting from his homosexual lifestyle, and I wish him the best of luck. Now, that's tough. There's a few men who have done it, but it's so rare that they become like a news story. Now, can you imagine how hard it's going to be to come back from sexually mutilating yourself? Satan isn't dumb. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to remove the repentance option. If you cut off your penis and then take all these drugs, I mean, you are so wrecked, so ruined, that it's going to be almost impossible for you to be saved after that. So what you're telling me about what they have in your schools over in Portugal is this. I mean, this is a plan to corrupt people beyond repentance on what a human is capable of doing. Because to repent, you still need to have your body mostly intact. You still have to have your mind mostly intact. But when you take the transgender option, both of those are demolished. So I think you're adding just another data point which confirms that.
Yeah. That's pretty much what's happening. And I'm just talking about this front. Of course, there's more fronts, but I'm not gonna elongate myself on that. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that things aren't doing pretty fine here either. It's not. I mean, the United States may be a little bit worse, but it's not the only place in the world that's a little bit more of a loss.
Let me ask you something. Is it true that there's a lot of countries in Europe where legally you're not allowed to homeschool? Like, in Portugal, can you as a father homeschool?
I cannot tell you 100% if it's illegal to homeschool, but I don't think we are. I don't think it's mandatory to enroll your kids in public school. So as far as I know, I think you could do that here in Portugal, but don't quote me on that because I'm not really sure.
I know in Germany and Greece you can't. Those are the two European countries I know for sure that you can't. But I think there's a few others in Europe too. I mean, in a lot of European countries, the idea of homeschooling is just so uncommon. I mean, they just don't have that. They don't. I mean, at least in the United States, there's something of a homeschooling culture, but in Europe, I mean, you just do not find it there.
Yeah, I hear it's not very common to hear about someone who was homeschooled, but in Portugal, I think that would be plausible, a little bit of the normal, but I think it would be possible. I don't think it would be a problem.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay,
So
caller. Is there
in
anything
finally,
else?
yeah. Just one final remark, and it's about the state of religion here, and just so you can take also a good perspective on
And
it.
to tell people,
And
Portugal is a Catholic country.
yeah, Portugal
Okay.
is a mainly Catholic
Okay.
country, at least in terms of the churches and parishes that you find. They are mostly Catholic. Of course, in Lisbon we have these like giant mosques, but other than that, in the rest of the country, and I live about 3 hours
Are you not
from Lisbon.
enriched, caller, by the mosques? You should be
What?
enriched.
What?
You should be
Enriched? Oh
enriched,
yeah. Oh yeah.
benefited.
Very,
Your culture
very culturally
is
rich.
now vibrant, right?
Yeah, it's vibrant and rich and full of variety. Like, isn't that what everybody wants? But
Yeah.
yeah, what? But
All the
whatever.
kebab
Besides the point.
options, the gyro options
Yeah,
now, I'm sure makes your life better.
yeah, yeah. And so, yeah. So being the mainly Catholic, and I think it's not as lost as some things I read in your book, such as having female pastors and not pastors, priests.
Hmm.
I have not to this day heard of a church here that has a female priest, so I think we're fine on that regard. But on the other hand, and this is one of my doubts, which makes me really reluctant to give myself completely to Catholicism, which is the Pope issue. I'm sure you are aware.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of Catholics. I have yet to meet a single one that said I like the Pope. So,
Yeah,
there's some options if you want to remain Catholic. You can go the traditional route with the Latin Mass.
yeah,
That's one option. If you don't have that, then either you do the normal Catholic Mass, you can consider the Orthodox Church. I'm sure the major cities in Portugal have that, but it's going to take some inspection on your part and to see it. But yeah, the main line, the big churches, like I talked about with the first caller, those are going to fall first. Like the biggest churches are going to fall. I mean, that's where Satan gets most bang for his buck. So, I know I don't want to offend a lot of the Orthodox Christians, but there's going to be some Orthodox Christians that may fall faster than the Catholic Church. I mean, some of the uh, churches in the Orthodox Church could actually fall faster. So, hopefully not. But we have to be discerning for each church. It can't just because there's the Orthodox in front, it doesn't mean it's immune. I mean, so we just have to be
yeah.
a little bit careful. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I usually attend mass, Catholic mass here because it's the nearest one near me. I'm just not gonna not go to mass because of that. But it's just something that it's been on my mind. And here, most Catholics that I meet, even young people, such as myself, like in early 20s people, and they actually they don't oppose the Pope. They actually like the Pope a lot. But nowadays I don't even get into arguments because all the things that go through my mind when I hear that, I'm just like, okay, just you do you. But what can I do? Like Orthodox churches near me, except for the people living in Lisbon, it's pretty much non-existent. Like,
Yeah.
and I wish there was one nearby.
Well, sometimes it comes down to the priest too. So find a Catholic church with the priest you like, and that can make a big difference too. So even though the
Yeah,
Pope is bad, if you find the based priest in even a bad church, that could make a big difference. So, okay, caller, thank you very much.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. Good luck there.
Thank you, Roosh. God bless you. Keep
Oh,
doing
okay.
God's work.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, you know, when you're in the United States, where is that noise? Hold on. So when you're in the United States, you think maybe there's the temptation is that other countries are better. and I get this a lot. I need to escape. I need to run away because the evil forces won't follow me. Bill Gates is confined to one country. My sins won't follow me, but I haven't bought into that. When I didn't have faith, I bought into that, but now I don't. Okay, let's go to the next caller. Hello, caller, you are now live.
Hey, Daryush, how are you, brother?
Yes, you said my name very well.
Well, thank you. I do love Iranians and I love Armenians, so
Okay,
it makes
great.
sense that.
Well, then, hey, I'm 2 in 1 package, right?
Okay, so my D-Live is lagging. I'm just gonna close my computer and just talk to you on the phone here.
Yeah, that's
First
good
of all,
idea.
do Portuguese people never stop talking? I mean, come on, this dude was like rambling about nothing for like an hour.
Mediterranean people are very social. I mean, I have that too. I can talk endlessly for many hours, and I have. So this is the Mediterranean. See, you have to understand the Western mindset, or I guess the U.S. mindset, is goal-oriented speaking. I'm speaking with the goal in mind. But with the Mediterraneans, it's just it's an enjoyment. It's a dance.
Okay, you know what? I mean, that makes sense. No disrespect to the Meds out there. I'm just more of a Nordic, light-skinned guy, so I don't understand. I don't understand with these Meds, okay? Like, it's just something that I don't do. But anyways, I want to come to the defense. I'm a young guy. I'm living in California right now, and just to give you some background there. But I want to come to the defense of the Catholic Church real quick because, I'm a convert. You introduced me to E. Michael Jones, and that's how I converted. This was like a year ago. A lot of people are saying like, oh yeah, well, I mean, the Pope is, suboptimal, and he's not, he's not like the best guy we could ask for. Well, an analogy I would draw is, if your father makes a mistake, does he cease to become your father? I mean, you should be helping this church become what it should be, and not saying, oh, it's time to leave, right? And it's just, I think that's such a
The
weak
only thing I would
mentality
say is how severe are the mistakes. If the father has some bad judgment, that's okay. But if he starts to beat you and molest you, then that's something else. So I guess the subjective element of evaluating your pope is how severe are the mistakes, and that's an individual choice. That's not something that I dive into because I'm not in the Catholic Church. But I do agree with you on the surface, because there are bishops in the Orthodox churches that do dumb things. I mean, from the surface, going along with the globalist stance on coronavirus. So yeah, if a bishop makes a mistake that says we have to wear a face mask, do we leave the church now? So I guess it's, do you feel the mistakes are before the line where you're no longer following Christ, where you have really corrupted the faith? And if you feel that the Pope hasn't done that, then yeah, there's no reason for you to leave.
And look, maybe this is where we differ, but I believe that unity is far more important than our temporary like human scale problems. I think that the unity of our history and our I think it's more important to stay together, frankly, is what I'm saying. And and that's just why I chose Catholicism, honestly. I see a lot of power in group movements, and this is something that Nicholas J. Fuentes espouses also, and this is why his movement is immense. Anyways, I wanted to say thank you. And this is, some idiots in the chat are like, oh, is this just an ass-kissing stream? Look,
I wouldn't read the chat. The chat is toxic because I don't moderate it.
Yeah, people like, there was this guy, Richard username. You guys are cringe, okay? Like, people who are doing real things understand that paying respect.
Don't let them get to you. If you let the haters get to you, you can't get anything done.
Yeah, I agree 100%, big guy. So I'm just saying that I'm a young kid, and I'm raising capital, and I'm trying to stay, under the radar in this liberal area where there is a lot of capital to be made. And I'm just saying that we support you. Like, there are people undercover in these liberal areas that do support you, and that we might move out in the future and join whatever cause there is out there.
I am
So
always surprised how many young people they know me. I know that I am known in the America First. The people who are part of that, I know that they are usually a fan of me. So that's good to hear. I hope that I'm not a young man with that America First energy anymore. But I hope that whatever I've learned in life, if I can, show these young men which roads not to take and what happens when you take the wrong road, if that can help them in their individual lives or in their movement, then that would be a great thing.
right, how does that axiom go, right? A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So you are definitely a great example. We're not saying, we're not saying like, you made a bunch of mistakes or whatever, but we're saying that you are like this. You're basically a celebrity in the online mail world, and now you transitioned to Christianity. You took me over when you interviewed Michael Jones, him and his Logos theology. So you are doing a great job of converting people. I just got to say. One thing I want to talk about is Jay Dyer, okay? And Jay Dyer, he's an Orthodox guy. We all know this guy.
Your tone suggests trouble is coming. But go ahead.
I mean, Roosh, look, I know you're friendly with Jay, and you don't have to say anything bad against him, but this guy's kind of cringe from my point of view. And frankly, like, I took a long, hard look at Orthodoxy before I chose Catholicism. And there are these videos on YouTube about Jay Dyer, like Jay Dyer exposed.
Okay, can I say, is your issue with him, is it a personality issue or is it a religious issue? Because I know he has said some harsh, I don't say harsh, but some opposing things about the Catholic Church and the Pope. So what, I guess, when you say his name, what's the first kind of irritation? Where does it come from?
The first thing that comes to my mind when I think about Jay Dyer is fraud. Okay, and I see him lining up all these. That's a really
heavy word. I mean, we have to be careful as Christians not to accuse others, without evidence, based on feeling. I mean, to accuse someone of fraud in the Catholic Church as in the Orthodox Church, false accusations are sins. I don't know what you're gonna say his doing that's in a fraudulent way, but we have to be careful. If you think he's doing the wrong thing, you have to pray for him that God can take him away. But we can't just go saying, because I don't like that guy, he is a fraud, or he shared opinions that I don't like. We just have to be very careful.
And yeah, I don't have any will towards Jay, and I want him to accept the truth. And maybe like the second thing that would come to my mind is his drug use and his frequent.
Listen, we're all sinners, okay, I don't even know about that, but I've sinned too. Are you going to hate me because I've done some horrible things? That's what the church is for. The church is for men and women who have sinned, who are struggling. If he's struggling through his sins, and I don't know about drug use, but if he's struggling through that, again, we pray for him. But why are we going to use his sins against him? You're a sinner too, and so, I mean, if it's very easy to go to a person and only focus on their sins and say, I don't like that person, but we're not told to do that. Christ didn't tell us to hate people based on their sins. He did not. That's not the Christian thing to do. We are supposed to not only treat those who do good to us, but treat those who hate us. Treat people well who hate us. What did the Bible say? Even the secular people, the atheists, love those who love them. That's very easy. So, okay, Jay says some nice things. He does you a favor. He promotes your ideology or your church, and you like him back. That doesn't say anything. I can go find an atheist on the street right now and do him a favor, a solid, and he'll be happy. But as Christians, we're supposed to feel love to people who despise us, who attack us. So when you're telling me the sins of Jay and how he's a fraud, this is not what Christians do. We're not supposed to do that. Christ has not taught us this.
Absolutely, Roosh. I can't agree more with you, and this is your show, so I will cede you the last word. However, I just want to say
I don't need the last word.
you know,
I'm just sharing what I feel. I'm not, see,
no,
talking to you and
absolutely.
others, I don't care if I win the debate or lose. I'm just sharing when you're calling Jay these things from a place of emotion. So I have a
Absolutely, brother.
response that I
Absolutely.
want to share. But I mean, if you have something to add, I'm not going to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Look, I do have something just to say, and it's, if you guys want to check out where my perspective comes from, go and look up the video "Jay Dyer Exposed" by VaticanCatholic.com. That's Jay Dyer Exposed, and that's really the only like gripe I have with him. Just it's like a short, like 30-minute video. I don't, we don't have to waste time
Listen,
talking
people
about this.
have done videos like that on me too. There's people who still go online, say Roosh has raped women. Roosh has done all these horrible things I haven't done, things that they've falsely accused me of doing. And there's YouTube videos, they're on Twitter. They're doing the same thing against me, a person that I'm guessing you like, that you're doing to another guy. So maybe you're right. Maybe these exposed videos, it's really correct. Jay he has sinned. He's a sinner. Well, I am too. I've probably done way worse than he has in life. So if you want to attack Jay and say that you're exposing him, then expose me too. Then spit the venom at me because I've done worse than Jay. I guarantee it. I guarantee I've done worse than him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I gotta say, Roosh, I still like you a lot better than I like Jay Dyer. I mean, that's just where I stand, frankly.
Oh my gosh.
What can I say? I mean, you're.
If you don't like him,
you're
that's fine. But I hope you do a self-examination of why you have this kind of hatred. This is hatred. And I'm not talking in the leftist sense of you hate black people or something, but this is hatred against a fellow Christian. And you have to ask yourself, why? Where is this coming from? You don't have to do it to me. You don't have to explain to me, but just ask yourself, why do I hate him? Why am I spreading hatred about a Christian who is, from his perspective, trying to save souls as I am? I mean, so just ask yourself that after. That's all. And if you don't have an answer, you don't have an answer. But I hope that God enlightens you that we cannot do this. We cannot do this. As Christians, we can't do what you are doing.
All right. Hey, that's. I'll just agree to disagree here, Roosh. But I still support you as always.
Okay,
I'll
great.
still support you as always. And
make sure you buy my new book.
Okay, yeah, throw some shekels towards your way, of course. And one last thing, to all young people out there, and I mean like 16, 17, 18-year-olds, if you're just going into a college or maybe in your 20s, learn computer science and move to somewhere where you can make a lot of money, because there's so much money to be made out here. I'm not even kidding. Like this is really like the advice I would have given to myself when I was younger. Like you people, a lot of people have really no idea how much capital is being thrown around here. So get good at math, learn CS, come out and make some money, okay? And this is how we can grow the faith in general. It doesn't matter if you're ortho or a Catholic. Christians should be making more money, gaining more capital and power, and making real political moves in the world, okay. Frankly. That's my opinion I want to express out here.
Okay, caller. Thank you very much.
All right. See you, Roosh. Bye-bye.
So the one thing I wanted to say about that caller is there is some enmity in his heart. First thing he did when he called, he complained about the Portuguese guy for talking too much. And then he complained about Jay. So there's some strife there. There is something going on with him and his faith. There is anger there. And, I have my own anger, but I can feel he is an angry person, and he needs to ask God, why am I angry? Release this anger, Lord, please. There is anger there. But I don't blame the young men, it's kind of common there. So, all right. Let's go. But I can say that Jay Dyer has, from my view, angered Catholics. Catholics do not like him, and because I think a lot of people have converted from Catholicism to the Orthodox Church because of him. So, okay, let's go to the next caller. Caller, you're now live.
Hey, Roosh, how's it going?
How are you doing? And where are you calling from?
I'm in Southern California.
Another California caller. Okay. What is going on?
So, you've talked about this for a while, but I can feel it coming on faster than I expected. Just the pressure from family and friends regarding the vaccine, and I don't know if there's really any support from the church on this. So I just kind of wanted to see what your thoughts were on that.
Which church are you in?
Catholic.
Okay. What has, from your view, what has the Catholic Church, what kind of guidance have they given on this issue?
I mean, they've been really pro-mask, and then they've set up like test, like coronavirus testing on the church parking lot. So I feel like
they seem to be going along, right? What is your opinion on it?
So, I mean, I'm young. I don't really see myself at risk. I understand.
Wait. You only have a 99.9% chance of surviving. What do you mean you're not at risk?
Yeah, I guess I just trust in God and my own immune system.
So one question, let's say, so I'm guessing you don't want to take it, right?
Right. And I've at least felt some comfort that one of my friends who's a teacher refused to get the vaccine, and she still has her job. So I don't think I'll be forced to do it, but it's weird. Like now people at work are even bragging that they're able to get the vaccine, ahead of schedule.
Well, what I'm going to tell you is going to happen is they're going to remove all of your comforts, your means to make a living, your means to speak on the public square. They're going to remove one at a time, gradually, not suddenly, gradually, all these benefits that maybe you take for granted, all the comforts that you come to expect in a normal life, unless you get it. So if your faith isn't 100%, at some point along that process, it may not be in the first step when they say, oh, you can't fly unless you get the vaccine. It may be somewhere down the line where you can't shop, you can't go to the supermarket. Some point down the line of this process of removing benefits and being a part of society, if you don't have strong faith, it's going to get so hard and so unbearable that you're going to fold. You're going to say, I can't take this anymore. I need a way to make a living. I don't want to dumpster dive or drive an hour away just to buy milk and eggs. So, but if you have faith, the vaccine is going to mean nothing. It's not going to even be a temptation to take it. Because with faith, you will die for Christ. You will martyr yourself for him if God gives that to you. But you will, and the saints, you're in the Catholic Church, you have saints. You see, a lot of them have martyred themselves for Lord Jesus Christ. And the vaccine, so for them, they would die than take a vaccine that they believe would transgress God's law, go against, maybe corrupt their faith, just admit to a toxin, a poison, it could be. So really the issue is, how strong is your faith? Because if your faith isn't strong, you're going to give up at some point. Like there's, let's say I know a man who has zero faith, and he has some truth in that he knows that the vaccine is bad. But he is so addicted to comfort, because he doesn't have the faith, that I know he's going to fold. I know, like maybe in the third step, like when they stop allowing him to fly, he's not going to fold then, but the step after that. So without the faith, you can't bear it. But Christ tells us to bear these things. He tells us to live in the world, but don't be of the world. It's Lent right now. We are praying and fasting. We are depriving ourselves of bodily pleasures. This for us is part of the faith. This is what Christianity is. It's a way of life. It's not just, you say a prayer and you're saved, like some of the Protestants may think. But so really, it's a faith problem that you are talking about. Because I'll tell you, I know this vaccine is toxic. This vaccine was developed with aborted fetal cells. This is satanic to its core. Satan developed this vaccination program. It's not even a vaccine anyway. It's more of a gene therapy. But Satan developed this. I will not inject myself with the sacrificed souls that Satan has made women abort. I will not do it. I will not do it. If you tell me, well, I'm going to take away everything you have, unless you get it, I'll look back and tell you, I have nothing. I want nothing that you have anyway. Only God has what I want and what I need. I'm sure you say your Our Father prayer, hopefully daily. Our daily bread is given by him, not by the doctors, not by Bill Gates. So they have nothing I want. You want to take away my right to fly, my right to get an education, my right to go to supermarket, my right to participate in the public library. Take it all away. Take it all away. I'm not making a deal with the devil. If you want to take away my live streams, my Twitter, take it, all of it. You can have all of it, because all I need is what God can give, not what these people hear. So it's really a faith issue.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for that. I think I can,
But one thing I can add, if your faith isn't there and not taking the vaccine puts you in anxiety, fear, panic attacks, because you don't have the faith, for that person, that secular-minded person, they probably should get the vaccine. Because if not, they could go crazy and they'll be in a worse state. So it's really, what can your faith handle? If you don't have any faith at all and you're having panic attacks and you can't live and you're suicidal, take the vaccine. Take the pills that they give you. That's fine. But if your faith can handle it, then handle it. So it's really what you can handle. But don't put yourself in this suicidal state to prove some kind of point. If you can't handle going that far, then don't.
Okay.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the call.
Thank you, caller. Bye-bye. Yeah, so only do what your faith allows you to do. Don't just copy people, because other people's faith could be stronger or weaker. Just do what you can do what your faith allows you to do. Thankfully, my faith is going to allow me to go further. My faith is going to allow me to take on more sacrifices, more pain. But once I hit a limit, then I know that, hey, my faith I can't go further. So one way to know this is during Lent, the people in the Orthodox Church, they fast. And you read a lot of books about the monks and how strict they fast. And you think, I want to do that. So, some of the monks, they don't eat for multiple days, just water and bread. That's very common when you're reading the lives of the saints, water and bread. So then, it's Lent. I'm going to really be like a monk. So I did a fast that's not that strict compared to them, but strict for me. And I started to have moodiness issues, anger issues, irritability issues, stomach problems. So, I surpassed what my faith can allow me to do. So I rolled things back a bit. I started to eat more. I started to relax the fast on the weekends, and I feel better. So I exceeded what my faith was, and then I realized it, and I came back. I'm not going to delude myself and say, no, I can fast like the monks who were in the desert for decades, even though I've been a Christian for 2 years. No, so I checked myself and I came back. So that's what you have to do. If you try to take it too far, but your faith isn't there, that can't allow you to handle that, then take a step back. Okay, let's take another call. Hello, caller. You're now live.
Roosh,
Hello.
what's up?
Not much. And where are you calling from?
I'm calling you from the Netherlands in Europe.
Netherlands. Okay, another
Yeah.
based Euro.
No, it's not based. It's really, really bad. That's
What?
actually
But in
part of the reason I
in
was
the
calling.
Netherlands, everyone is tall and good looking and stylish.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I am. But no, I'm just kidding. So, well, shout out to everyone in chat and the Roosh gang. I just wanted to call you to say, like, hey, I really enjoyed the book.
Okay,
And yeah, I'm also still on my own spiritual journey. And my question was more like, well, there's so much stuff going on in the news lately, and like it seems to be, yeah, getting worse by the day. And I have a really messed up story about what's going on here after that. But I'm just wondering, how do you balance like all the news that's going on with your spiritual growth? Like, should we even care at all? Because sometimes there's so much of it that, yeah, I just skip out on even praying and stuff.
yeah, I mean,
So I was just wondering, how do you feel about that?
well, one, news by itself, regardless of the content, releases dopamine because it's new. New things release dopamine. So when you're on social media, on Twitter or things like that, and you're waiting for new news to come, that is actually creating, it's simulating something that a drug addict would do. That's why you see many, say, girls on Instagram just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So one, you have to look at the
Yep,
addiction
yeah.
alone that the news can give you, to think what is happening, what's going on, and then you get something new and it feels good, even if the news is actually bad. So that's one thing you
No,
have to keep in mind.
it doesn't feel good. Like
So
it's really bad right now. Like, for example, there's this. So a few weeks ago there was this TV show, and they're gonna air it soon, which is on the state-funded channel.
it's going to be something
And
gay. Go ahead.
no, it's
gonna be worse.
really bad. Like,
Oh,
you've
no.
been talking about them framing the kids for pedos
no.
and stuff. So the whole show is about there's 6 adults who take off all their clothes, and then they're in front of a elementary school class with kids 9 or 10 years old, and they can ask anything they want. That's the whole premise of the show.
And when
like-
you mean everything off, at least are they still in their underwear, their bra?
No. And one of the guys even had like a piercing in his, what should we call it? His Johnson. It's really messed up, man. Like,
I'm laughing on the outside, but crying on the inside.
yeah, I feel really bad for those kids. Like, I don't have kids, but yeah, it's making me worry. Like, should I even? I mean, I know you talk about it, right? Like, yeah, don't flee from your problems. But if I think about ever having kids here, I mean, this is already going on now. Imagine sending your kids to school. Well, you just talked about it. We cannot homeschool.
So wait,
And
are
they
you
come back from
in
school,
your
they're
country?
like, yeah, Mom, I had this convo with a guy with a penis piercing at school. I'm like, what?
Can you homeschool in the Netherlands?
No, you can't. No.
So what is
So
the
that-
okay? Can I just ask a follow up? What is the point of that show? So adults get naked in front of kids. Okay, I mean,
but
I know what the point is, but what is the stated point? I mean,
No,
it
if
has to be
you-
some educational.
Yeah.
Part of
So there is one. Well, there's one based political party, and I voted for them. They're like the traditional Christian one. But then you have these scientists. Well, the gender scientists. Well, to put on the tractor image. And they say, well, it's good for their learning and exploring that all kind of bodies are normal and blah, 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 blah. That's the premise. Like, I don't know whether I should laugh or cry at this news, but you see, there's stuff going on like this every day. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah, that's the tractor on the stream, and it's like, yeah, like now it's of course entertaining, right, to talk about it, but it's also getting insane. And I mean, at this point, I'm just wondering, should I move to a log cabin and read the Bible the whole day, or like, what is this? What is happening? You know?
what, what was the country that recently put out that cartoon? It's a cartoon for kids with a man with
Denmark. And you know that this show
with the hold on
said,
for people who don't know what it is. So Denmark put out a cartoon of a man with a super long penis that he solves problems with his penis. Here it is. He tames a lion with his super long penis. What are you guys doing over there? I know Denmark is not the same as the Netherlands, but I mean, you guys are so weird.
Listen to this. You know what? You know what they said about the show with the naked people? They said we're following the Danish example because they already did it over there.
Oh my God. I'm crying. You made me cry, caller. Hey, and what is the name of your show so we can...
Oh my... Well, what do you think they would call it?
How to groom children, unfortunately. Oh.
No, so the Dutch name it's called gewoon bloot, which just means regularly or like normally naked. That's how I would translate it.
We're so screwed. Oh. Ooh, I'm calm. I'm calm. Man, that's just wild.
No, and that's what I mean. And you know, last week we also had an election which was totally stolen, because there's this, well, the Dutch Kamala Harris kind of. Well, nobody likes her. She's terrible at every debate. Nobody likes her points.
And she won anyway.
Suddenly, she has a landslide victory, and they call it, the cigarette effect. Oh, she's a woman. She's oh my God. And we have a Dutch Alex Jones type, and he said 3 weeks ago, if you want to know whether the election, because at that point they were polled to be a minority party. He said, if in 3 weeks from now they're gonna say she won the majority, unexpected, this is the woman effect, that's when you know there's fraud. And that happened. So all of this stuff is going on, and I'm like, how do I balance this with my spiritual life? You know, like it's
okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of the things that you're talking about, I mean, it's going on here too. It's going on in the USA too. The first thing I can tell you is, sorry, let me wipe some of these tears. You know, and yes, it's funny on the surface because of this clown world aspect, but it's sad too once you get into it, and once you see that, you know, people are being harmed. I'm sure our intention is not to make fun of that, but if the news is getting you down, you have to stop. You have to stop watching it. It shouldn't. If it's beyond the informational, if it's beyond the helping you develop your faith, you're going too far. You cannot handle it. So if you can't handle it, if it's making you really upset, then you have to slow it down. You have to not consume it as much. You have to read books. You know, I think there's going to be, the content on the internet lately has been getting really bad. So I've started to read more books, and the older the books,
really
the better.
bad,
I mean, it's really, if you only consume social media and the news, it turns your brain into mush. You know, I mean, it doesn't allow connections to happen. But yeah, I think at the same time, you are curious and you want to know how things are going. But like I said, when I started this live stream, it's all bad news anyway. We know how it is. They're going to go after kids. They're corrupting everyone. It's bad news constantly. We know the pattern. So do we really need to watch it? So I think that's something that you have to ask yourself. But listen, God is allowing this. God is allowing this, and we have to hold the mirror up to ourselves first and the kind of lives that we have lived that have, me, I participated in this evil for a long time.
Well, I mean, you had some evil, but you cannot compare it to these tractors that make these crazy TV shows.
So they're just taking the evil that, say, I did and adding a couple of steps on top of that. But that's still, I allowed for the most of my adult life pushing evil that set up the next stage. So we really have to look at ourselves. I allowed this. This is punishment for the sins that me and my neighbors have done. We deserve this. May this evil, which is so obvious now. The good news is that the evil is waking a lot of people up. It's so obvious that people who would have been asleep their entire life, been happy in this secular material existence of comfort, are now starting to ask questions. They're starting to wonder, why does there seem to be an agenda, a program of really hurting children, of hurting everyone? And so I think this actually, in God's wisdom, he's allowing this because it's going to end up saving more people than otherwise. And it's hard for us to understand that. But I think you have to understand, you have to trust in God totally. He's allowing this for a reason that will be obviously clear, and we should be thankful that, not that kids are being hurt, but that things are progressing to where he needs it to be to when Jesus Christ comes back again.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, if I see on Facebook, there's people that still do not see it, and then they post a comment on, there's like a photo of that show, and then they post a comment, well, the scientists say this is great, and you click on their profile, and it says, they have a banner which says, I took the vaccine. Yeah, it also exposes the people that are really, beyond saving, so to say.
Well, I think those who have participated in mutilating their bodies are probably close to beyond saving. But, people who are just misguided, I think they can still be saved. Hopefully God works through them. Many people have said that about me, that I was beyond saving. And look at me now. So I think, God gives each person a lot of chances. He waits. The mercy that God gives us while we are alive is basically nonstop chances. But once we're dead, that's it.
Once I realized that, when I really thought about, like, after all these things, there's still a chance, man. It really touches you,
Yeah. But don't get too concerned of it. Trust in God's plan. Continue to further your faith. Maybe now start to think of not being in front of a screen for, say, an extra half an hour each day. Try to focus on a book. I review a lot of books on my blog that are very good, that you can pick up and buy anywhere and read. And I think that's going to help you. And while it's hard for me to explain right now, you said this is a bad time to have kids. I think it's the best time, not because these kids are going to be corrupted, but because through your child, you can allow you and your family to be a witness for Christ in such an evil time. So on the surface, it's a bad time because there's traps everywhere. But if you are a man of faith, if you are a man of God, and you give the tools to your child is going to be a shining light, way brighter than you could be, because you gave him or her the foundation from a young age. Look at me. I started late at 39. If I can have children now and teach them the faith, not in a forceful way, but just to share my love of Christ, I mean, by the time they're 18, their faith will probably surpass whatever I could do. So this is an opportunity too. God doesn't say when times are rough, don't have kids and just run away. I mean, we're supposed to preach. We're supposed to be the examples of Christ, no matter how bad things are. We hold our head up high. We are not afraid because we have Christ. I mean, of course, if you don't have a wife, having kids is hard, but that's the point. I'm not, it's up to God. If God pairs you with a woman and he allows children to happen, then I would trust in him. Don't use your own mind to determine if things are good and bad. Trust in God and let him determine if you should, say, have a family or not.
Have it or not. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Thanks for that advice, Roosh.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
And I'm praying for you and your family, everybody in the chat. I hope you're all doing well in these crazy times.
Okay, caller. God bless you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
God bless.
Now, I've had a lot of callers. I never would have guessed that a Dutch caller would have made me lose control and laughter as much. But, Clown World, the reason that meme is so popular is because it's true. I mean, things have gotten so absurd. Dostoevsky said that without God, anything is possible. Anything will be permitted. Anything. I mean, anything goes. We're in a stage of human history that is worse than Sodom, worse than Gomorrah, potentially worse than it was before God flooded the world at the time of Noah. Right now, anything goes. If you can imagine the most perverse thing possible, there's a chance Satan is using a group or a person to actualize that. It's crazy. This is, it's getting, I think what Satan is doing is trying to make the earth what hell is going to be. And too many humans are participating in this. And it's hard to watch it, but, God put us here and this specific time, and he wants us to show the world through our faith that it's wrong, that no, God endures, that the only progress is progressing through your faith, not through the depths of hell. So may we endure. And on that note, let's get the next caller. All right, caller, you're now live.
Hey, Roosh.
Hello.
Hey. Blessed fast, man. Blessed fast. Glory to God.
Glory to God. And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Southern California.
Another one. Wow, there's a lot of California callers.
That's right. We need your prayers and everyone's prayers in the chat. But
Yes.
It's a beautiful day. Good weather.
Good. So what's going on?
So I just wanted to, I don't have a question really. I just wanted to share, my wife and my journey. I am a ex-Protestant, and she was Roman Catholic. And through God working through you, I think that you played a big part in introducing me to Orthodoxy. And we went to a church, an Orthodox church in California. And now we are proud catechumens, and
Wow.
We are loving it, and we are getting closer and closer to Christ every day. So
Glory to God
just wanna
for
say thank
using me to show you the faith.
Yeah, thank God. Thank
Yeah.
God. So, I see that you didn't give up coconut water, though,
No.
for Lent.
I have to
Good.
support Goya in their quest to defeat globalism.
That's right. That's what I say when I have one, too. That's it. Just a quick call, and I wanted to thank you
great.
for that.
Yeah, so what have you seen, I guess, down in Southern California in terms of, let's talk about the state in general. Is there some hope that the state will start going in the right direction, or is things basically gone there?
So, well, first, do I sound okay? I'm on speaker because my wife's right here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do I sound okay? Cool. The state itself, I think God can work any way He wants to. So if He wants to redeem the state, He totally can. But from a perspective of my own, it's pretty bad. We were driving around today, and it's just garbage everywhere, and we don't live in a bad area. And garbage everywhere, homeless everywhere, and it's sad. My heart goes out to it and to them, but it's a disaster because it was once one of the greatest places to live in the world. And we're young. I mean, we're millennials, and our parents lived here when they were our age, and it's a totally different time. But I don't think that it can be saved. It's one of those states. There are several states in the union that can be saved and are in an okay place, but California is not one of them. I think that it's too far gone, unfortunately, through my eyes at least.
Have you thought of a plan to leave if things pass a certain point? Because I know many Californians are starting to leave. They've gone to states such as Montana, Idaho, Utah, Texas, especially.
Yeah, so we actually
Arizona.
we took a trip to Utah of all places, and it's beautiful. It's clean. The people are very kind. There is a lot of LDS, and we all know that, but it was one of those experiences where we all hear that it's heavily Mormon, but until you go there, I mean, it's hard to even imagine how many. It's like every neighborhood there's a church there, an LDS church. But we found an Orthodox church. Our priest recommended one that was there. He knew that we were visiting, and we went, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely an incredible experience there. So there are little,
Was it the Saints Peter and Paul Church in Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was
Father Justin is based.
Yes, he is.
What are the odds?
God bless him. He is
goodness.
fantastic. Thank God for him. And so they moved churches to Payson, and they built it with the faithful there built this church there, and it's beautiful. So we visited that place, and we got a blessing from Father Justin, and it was fantastic. So it's encouraging, and we're looking at that place for sure. We're looking in Payson and Provo area. So
I'll just say there is a lot of providence involved for me going to that church. I wasn't supposed to go there, but someone intervened in the last hour for me to go there. I talked to Father Justin. In my book, I talk about him a little bit. But the fact that when I was talking to you, I felt compelled to mention him, says that in the Christian world, there's no such thing as coincidence, right?
Amen. Glory to God for that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What's that?
But
yeah, my wife always says that. But so that's so awesome that you. Tell my priest too that you.
Yeah, tell Father Justin I said hello. He probably it was over a year ago that I was there. I don't think he remembers me, but there are a few people at that church who know me. So.
Great, fantastic. Yeah, I don't want to give away.
No, don't. I don't want you to dox yourself. So let's stop. But the only thing I want to share is that to move or not, that's an individual. That's a family choice. And at some point when things get, when you're being actively assaulted, persecuted, and things are a danger to your family, I think moving is not a bad idea. My only word of warning is that whatever you're leaving due to the connected state of the evil, not just in the United States, but globally, is going to follow you. So really, again, moving is not a bad idea, but you're buying time. So you're buying a couple years. It could be longer than a couple years, but it's still whatever you're leaving is going to come to you again. As long as you understand that. So really just use the time that you buy to prepare for when it does, because it will. And it could be harder than what you have to face currently. We can't escape this. Of course, if you were living in the Soviet times when you would be sent to gulags and be imprisoned, or you would escape, and many of the Russians did, I wouldn't fault anyone there. But look, so it just took maybe 80 years for kind of what they escaped to come here. I don't think you're going to have to wait 80 years for the California Californian toxin to follow in other states too. So just keep that in mind. So just use the time, if you move to Utah, use that time wisely to build your faith and to find a community that can help you when the times get difficult.
Yes, I appreciate those words, Roosh. Thank you for that, and we do listen to that and your advice as well. So we just wanted to thank you and give you our love, and we're praying for you, and that you have a lot of people even in California that love you and pray for you. So thank you for all you do.
God bless you and your wife.
Thank you. God bless you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was based. All right, let me get another drink. I'll be right back. Okie dokie. So I wanted to show you something I baked. I made vegan brownies. And why is it vegan? Am I becoming a vegan? No, it's because during the Orthodox fast, you avoid dairy and milk, meat and stuff. So let me just show you. Let's see if I can get a good shot. Ooh, there it is. Nice. Vegan brownies. So one thing I learned about the vegans is they love coconut oil. They put coconut oil in everything. Like everything tastes like coconut. And so I'm learning to deal with that. Vegans are good with adding flavors, but they're not good with balancing it. So yeah, here's your coconut everything. But the one point I wanted to make is that I have been able to get a couple of vegan foods to taste almost like the real thing. So the vegan brownies almost taste like brownies with eggs and butter. My vegan pancakes taste almost like the normal pancakes I make. Just one thing, without butter and milk and egg, the texture is off, but the taste is almost there. Now, if I can say fast, but eat buttery, milk, eggy foods that taste almost the same, is that really fasting? Isn't that like a loophole? So or do I just eat peanut butter sandwiches every day? I don't know. I still, fasting is a process. You have to learn it. And I am not a good faster. I have a long way to go there. But yeah, I'm eating my vegan brownies and pancakes. It's like I'm not even fasting. Oh, I got to learn. Hopefully God gives me the strength to fast properly. But it is hard because you want to feel some worldly delights. Okay, let's take the next caller. Maybe he's a vegan. All right, hello, caller. You're now live.
Hey, Roosh.
How's it going?
Good.
And you are calling from where? California.
Not very sunny Orlando, Florida.
Oh, Florida. Okay, the hottest place, the most humid state, man. It was, when I went to Florida, it felt like an oven, like just really thick, like a mist.
I can agree with that, man. It's been up and down. Just got a cold front recently, but it's been in the 90s recently. And your clothes just kind of stick to you if you walk around during the middle of the day. Now,
I'm confused. Are people moving to Florida or moving away? I'm kind of hearing both. Like a lot of people are leaving Florida because it's really expensive and hot, but a lot of people are moving there because of compliant tax. I mean, you don't have a state income tax, and it's more free. So I don't know what is really going on there.
I'd have to say both are true. One suspicious thing that's happened to my grandparents that live in a smaller town is recently they've been getting a lot of real estate offers
Mm.
because a lot of people want to buy their house. But I couldn't tell you which way, where the net migration is going. If anything, I think people are more likely to move to Florida because they're salivating at the opportunity to not have to wear a mask everywhere and be able to live in a more open economy that wasn't as destroyed as some other states.
And I can understand that, but you're basically one fraudulent election away from being like California, right?
Well, and our governor is one level of base more than the demon that's running that state.
Mm. But I heard that Governor DeSantis, he's pretty good. Like he's like a Trump guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Alright.
can agree with that. He's been pretty based recently,
Good.
especially with that leak call with Acorn Stairlift Biden.
That's when he called Biden. Like, if it's true, I'm not sure that is true, but he did call Biden. He was very stern with Biden. With Biden, who is basically,
he
I mean, I don't know if you heard in the news, Biden can't even climb a flight of stairs. He was climbing the stairs to his jet, and he fell numerous times. And I'm just waiting for Kamala to just take over.
He also got a stair lift.
Yeah, this is like a total joke, but anyway, I just, I try not to get too involved in politics because it's so absurd that, yeah, it makes you, it stirs up your passions and you get angry. But anyway, so what is going on?
I'd like to share with you a couple of brief anecdotes of what's going on with the youth, particularly in high schools. And this comes from a friend of mine who teaches guitar class about 45 minutes north of where I am. And some of the stories might shock you, and I'll do my best to keep it G-rated.
I'm guessing it's going to either involve gayness or trannies. But go ahead. Oh my gosh!
Ding, ding, ding.
I mean, that's where it is now. Everything is gay and transgender. Yeah, that's the main assault. But let's hear the first one.
Yeah, the future is gay.
Oh, this is going to be
bad.
But
anyways, our first story is about the female population, and what my friend noticed is that women are becoming more manly, in the sense that they are becoming braggadocious about their sexual experiences. Now, a big popular trend at this school in particular is for girls to become gay and start having sexual relationships with other girls. And the big trend is that they talk about openly and unashamedly and mind you, very graphically about their encounters and what happens. And it's very sad to hear about because they're really trying to act tough, like, oh yeah, that girl over there, she's blah 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 blah, and we had it's not even we had such a great time last night. It's like 3 times more graphic.
So this is what men used to do, or what some men still do when they sleep with a woman. They meet a woman on Tinder or in the nightclub, and then the next day they meet with their friends, and the glory, I did it, I conquered her, I did that, So this was a very common masculine thing to show that you conquered. So you're telling me that, and this confirms what I've seen, that the women are doing it too.
And it's gotten worse. Like, it took you about a day to reveal it, but they're hooking up in the bathroom and talking about it 20 minutes later in the next class.
That is also, you see a lot of girls online not bashful to share their numerous sexual experiences. So this definitely confirms where the trends are.
And recordings. Everything's being recorded. Yeah.
Is it like, I mean, I wouldn't be so are they both doing it? Like both participants are probably recording. I don't know. I guess
I don't know either
I
because
don't okay.
I mean, I haven't been in school for a while. I mean, I'm still kind of young, but we never did that stuff when I was in school.
But let me ask you this. Let's say you meet a girl and then you ask her how many sexual partners she has had, which I don't really insist on you doing that. I mean, we have to be careful. But let's say that she said, well, with a guy, only one. And then you say, what do you mean with a guy? And then she said, well, with girls, I went through my gay stage. And that seems to be what every girl is doing now. I mean, because every girl is bi. I don't know if you heard that. But with a girl, I've been with 20 of them. Does that still count as one sex partner? I mean, or does that count as 21?
Well, a lot of guys who get turned on by that think they hit the jackpot.
Idiots.
But I mean,
anyway,
of course,
just
people
that.
like you and me would just totally be disgusted by it.
Yeah, because I mean,
like
you could say that the gayness is worse because the gayness is an inversion of her natural state. So okay, she kind of got lost in her passion and she slept with a lot of guys. That's not good, I'm saying. But at least she abided by the natural order. She had disordered passions, but she abided, man to woman. But a girl who's had, say, one guy, but 20 girls, on the surface, you're like, well, she wasn't, I mean, when two women sleep with each other, I don't even know what that is. But you can say, well, technically she's only been, went through the copulation act with one guy. But it could be worse in the spiritual sense that she's further from God because of that. So this is, again, what I talked about earlier, how Satan is trying to make people gay first, because it's hard to turn back from being gay, and then transgender. It's almost impossible. I mean, it isn't impossible. With God, nothing is impossible, but it's much harder to repent from the transgender thing. So it's like an escalation of severity of sin that makes it hard to come back. So, and the girls, because they need the attention, the validation from the culture and from their friends, think they're doing a good deed. Look how open-minded I am. And it's just sad. It's sad, but
Well, not only that, but they see other girls as higher sexual market value because men have been put into such a lowly state by our own culture and feminized social media. So being with a man doesn't give you as high of a status as being with another woman, especially one who's gay.
Let us pray for the Zoomers because they have to deal with women that are broken. I mean, we're all broken to an extent, but severely broken. I feel bad for the Zoomers. But hey, the fact that they're using their masculine energies to further their cause, like America First is a good example where they've harnessed their masculine energies into something that's going to help this country. I mean, what America First is doing, it's going to benefit us all. So.
Oh yeah.
But what did I
was there, man.
Yeah.
I was there.
Okay, good. Oh yeah, that's because you are there. You are in the state that the last AFPAC was. I mean, I went to the one a year ago in Washington, and the energy was very high. I can only imagine it now. I can only imagine. I kind of am jealous in the sense that, I didn't use my talents to build a movement. I don't think I'm a movement guy, but I didn't use my talents to build this kind of community. Instead, I just used it to feed my lust in Europe and South America. It's like I wasted all that youthful energy, but to get laid. But you're using it for a cause that's going to help people here. And so I'm really rooting for this movement, and of course anyone who's involved who thinks that I can help. Right now, I don't think I have much to offer anyway. But if there is anything that
you have fellowship.
Yeah,
I feel
I'm more than happy to help.
I feel like this is fellowship right here. Is the closest thing that we can have to authentic fellowship, like Christians used to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm lucky that there are men in their 20s that hear the words I speak and they connect. It's not a generational gap that you would think could exist, but they seem to understand where I'm coming from, and they know I'm trying to grow my faith, which they are doing too. And it seems to something is happening. We all have a role in the times that are coming. We all have a specific role. Mine could be in front of a camera. Yours maybe is not, but we definitely have a way to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the second?
Well,
I think you had a second anecdote.
It's worse. This time it's the guys.
Oh no.
Okay, so like I said, my friend is a guitar class teacher, and somehow talking to one of his students who was on the football team, and oversaw his phone, or mentioned to my friend something about him being in a group chat with the other football team players. And lo and behold, one of the things they like to do in the group chat is trade pictures of each other's penises and compare them.
What?
And
Why?
so my friend, I don't know, my friend said to this kid, "Dude, that's gay. You guys are all gay. Why are you doing that?"
That sounds gay to me.
The kid responded, "Well," and I quote, "What do you know, Grandpa?"
Well, I know what sodomy is. I mean, that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's a word I'd love to bring back.
There was one time when me and my friends, we were going to clubs in Washington, D.C. We were around 24, 20, 25. And one night, so there was a Persian friend of mine, maybe he's watching now. And I think he was drunk or something. We were both using the bathroom, the urinal in a nightclub. And he like peeked over. And I'm like, dude, why are you being so gay? And he thought it was a joke. But that was the gayest thing that I probably had to endure. But now you're telling me that these young men are voluntarily trading photos of their manhood? That I think crosses the urinal peekaroo. But
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah. See,
That's
it's weird. Zoomers are either super based or super gay. Like there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
There's no normalcy. There's this. I mean, what is normal? But there's no kind of moderation. You're either really far off the ledge. I mean, insane, or you're a really cool person who gets it, who has faith and knows his politics. It's weird. And in my generation, we don't have that. We just have a lot of kind of middle of the road, average people who experimented with sin for a while and settled down into some kind of marriage union, in the secular sense. But the Zoomers, man, they're either the Zoomers. I think the Zoomers, if there's like a Hitler, it's going to come from them, like some really extreme figure that I'm going to look at this Zoomer and think, you know what, I'm just going to put my lot in with him. It's the Zoomers, man, the Zoomers.
Well, let's not imply anything here.
No, I'm not. I don't see any of that currently, but I'm saying an extreme figure that we haven't seen could come out of them. Someone not on the side of good, but it could be on the side of evil, like a super gay character.
Yeah, man, God, so tired of all this gay stuff.
But good.
Really tired of it.
But yeah, just
totally candid.
I mean, it's basically everywhere now. There's no way you can avoid it.
If you don't accept it, because a lot of people do, it can just be really lonely, because people, especially with social media, because like this one guy was put in jail for not affirming his child's gender transition. And it was like you were saying earlier, if you don't accept what's coming, they're going to take away your comfort. And I think a part of that is just the social isolation of, not putting the gay flag on your profile picture, or not, because a big thing in Orlando a few years ago was like the Pulse shooting. So everybody had to change their profile picture for that, and then Pride Month every June, which is just it's becoming overbearing.
But don't feel alone. I had a caller from Portugal that's going through the same thing. A caller from the Netherlands is going through the same thing. This is a worldwide phenomenon. We're all going to get bit by it. It's all going to claw at our faces, but just, maintain your faith, focus on that. If the news is putting you in despair, turn it off. Social media outside of a few sources that you trust is not going to serve you well. I mean, is your job to bring the news to people? I could argue that my job is this, but even then, if it's making me sick, if it's making me fall into despair and be upset, then you should reconsider. So if you're around sources that are gay, and you have to start to consider blocking them out, maybe having to withdraw from, say, a job that has that, maybe something, I don't know your current life situation, but yeah, I mean, don't force yourself to endure something that is putting you in a state that you can't deal with.
Right.
Yeah,
good. Man, I'm a musician, man, so it's tough. It's tough to be in that crowd and
you're right. Yeah,
be this way.
You can try to be a YouTube star. So alone, you can make your YouTube videos, your covers, and you can make a living that way until YouTube bans you. But good. Okay, caller. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Roosh.
And good luck.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. Let's get the next one. Hello, caller. You're now live.
Hello, Roosh. I'm ringing from England.
England. Okay. How are things there?
They're very well, thank you. Yes, we're just preparing to celebrate the feast of the victory of Orthodoxy, the triumph of Orthodoxy.
You sound like a narrator of some documentaries I may have watched in the past.
Ah, well done. I'm Father Spyridon. You may have seen some of my videos on YouTube.
Yes, I actually have. I subscribe to you. I have recommended your work to a lot of people. I recognize your voice. I feel very blessed that you are calling me.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you. I was going to speak about one thing, but I was prompted by your previous caller, really. I must say, first of all, your recent book is excellent, and I think it's very well read, and I think your message about your own personal spiritual change and transformation, or the process that you're in, is excellent. So thank you for that.
Father, I am in a state of shock currently. I'm in a state of shock that you knew of me and you read this book. So great.
That's very kind of you to say. But if I may say, one thing that has struck me about a number of the callers that you just had, this issue of the number of partners that both men and women have in their lives, particularly here in the West, and this reality of repentance that you describe so well and that you've communicated to so many people. I think a key part of this is also going to have to be, for many people in the West, if that repentance is true and a true recognition of our own fallenness and sinfulness and a rejection of that, actually to be able to embrace and accept that the person that we're going to marry has themselves cut them off and separated themselves from any past that they've had. So, I mean, I know in the West there is still a male-female attitude towards this, that many men still feel very proud of their past, even though they may consider they've changed in some, whereas they will see a woman's past as something that lingers and remains attached to her. And I wonder to what extent, for you, I mean, in your hope of being married and your plans and in God's hands, of course, the extent to which you feel you would be able to forgive and accept your future partner's potential past.
I can tell you that I have no expectation that a woman is going to come to me pure and she didn't sin in the way. Like the way I see it is God is going to pair me with a woman who reflects some of the scars that I bear from the world. And so how can, and I think, every day we pray that for God to forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. I mean,
Yes.
how can I not forgive a woman for doing just a little bit of what I did? I mean, I can't, I don't know how much of my past that you know, but not only did I participate in the evil, but I taught tens of thousands of men how to do it too. It's beyond. And at the time I was doing it, I thought I was doing a great deed, a good deed. Look at me, I'm helping men. I'm helping to bond them. But now I look back and I'm shocked. I'm shocked at what I did do. But no, I don't expect I'm not, unfortunately, I can speak for a lot of men who talk to me. They are looking for that. They say they want a perfect girl, a virgin even. It's nonstop. And they have a list. They have a grocery list of what they want, but their faith isn't there. So, of course, they have that list. But me, I'm thinking, what woman is God going to send me? And if not, then how else am I going to serve him?
Absolutely. And I think one of the essential things we're going to need, particularly in these times and the times to come, are solid, secure Christian marriages. I think the security of that, particularly for children that are to come, you talked about sharing the faith and so on, and I think that stability of marriage that we can offer is as much for us as a couple as our children. And it's so vital that we do that. And I think the kind of forgiveness and acceptance that you talk about is really important in this.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if you heard me earlier, I said this may be the best time to have kids. And a lot of people would be shocked, but I really think, I mean, for God, if it's his will, it is the best time. But, one thing I can tell you is that the men I talk to, they're still hanging on to the world. They still have these goals that's coming from their own will. So the challenge for me, and I would love to hear your advice on this, is how do you talk to people whose foot is in the door? But with me, I don't know how much of my past, but I repented and I really, God helped me throw away that old life very, very quickly. Within a couple months, I mean, the grace was very powerful. I still have sins that I'm working through, especially of pride. But God, he worked through me very quickly. And it was so obvious to me that the world is not the way. The world doesn't have anything. It's not going to satisfy you. It doesn't fulfill you at all. But I'm sure many pilgrims come to you and you can sense that there is attachments. And, how do you deal with it? How do you tell people that all these attachments you have, these grocery lists that you're seeking of comfort, it's not the way?
I think when we look at ourselves as spiritual beings and we see this attachment as part really of our own fallenness, our own sinfulness, and we recognize it as a spiritual wound. And there are wounds that heal very quickly because they may just be emotional and psychological. And then there are wounds that are truly all of that plus spiritual. They cut deep. And even after repentance, even after we've become members of the church, and even after years, those wounds may still be healing, and we're forgiven. We were accepted by God, and we've repented. But that process still of healing may go on till the day we die. And so, when we see our sin as a spiritual wound that we've committed against ourselves, and recognize that this process of healing is something that is ongoing. It's an ongoing process as we draw closer to Christ, as we experience more of his grace. That grace is healing in our soul.
Okay, yeah, and I try not to, expect other people to have the same path as me. I know God's grace can be small steps at a time.
Yeah.
But, wow, since you're here, there's so many questions that I could ask you. But sometimes I know this is weird, but sometimes I ask, why me? You know, why did I have this path? And I think God has given me some gifts to speak to people about Him, but I'm very careful. You know, I don't want to teach. Again, I've only been a Christian for 2 years going, but I get a lot of compliments. People email me, say, you've helped me with the faith and you've done this, and I try to ignore it, but I feel like there's traps being set that I could fall into. So what could you tell me to avoid this, to do what I'm doing that is helpful, but to not kind of fall into that prideful trap where, oh, I'm important, I'm a somebody, you know, look at how my faith is growing. I don't want that, but it's hard because people are pushing these compliments onto me, and I'm not sure.
And, well, I can say as a married man, one of the good things about being a married man is that when my wife ever sees any compliments paid to me like that, she's very quick to remind me of the reality of who and what I am. And I think that is an important thing to do, that we see what we can do for God, and if somebody responds to us and says, this has done so much for me, and they seem to apply it to us personally, first of all, to remind them, look, this is nothing to do with me. Thanks be to God that, you know, I've been able to help you, point you into this because God has given us this. But also to consciously hold on to the reality and truth of our own sinful self. I mean, the fathers talk about this a lot, don't they, in terms of humility, to be consciously aware of our own sins, and also consciously aware daily of our own death. When we hold our death in front of us and we know the truth of ourselves, it's very difficult then to allow those compliments and those thoughts that other people may have about us that are false actually to take hold, because, you know, when we come before God, as the fathers say, you know, these compliments won't just be nothing, they will be a burden, they will be like rocks around our neck. This is why Jesus said, you know, woe to you when people speak well of you, because we know that we are not worthy of any of those compliments. We know the truth of our hearts. And a truth. Now, however honest we try to be with people, honestly, we don't make a big public confession of our true inner self. I mean, this is not what we're called to do. But the true depth of our own sinfulness, the true depth of the darkness that sits in each of our hearts, when Christ's light begins to shine into those dark corners, and we shudder, we absolutely shake with revulsion at what we see within ourselves. That reality is what we have to hold on to. Saint Silouan says to us, doesn't he, we must keep one foot in hell, but always hold on to hope. Always retain the hope of Christ. Never lose that in our hearts, the joy of Christ. But at the same time, there is one foot in hell. We know the truth of ourselves.
Now, one thing I've learned in my travels to Orthodox monasteries and parishes in the United States is that the Orthodox world is small. So if you have a little bit of a name, you know, things get out there. Now, one thing I think you know about me, I'm in the Armenian Orthodox Church, and this is considered a schismatic church according to the Eastern Orthodox, the Russian Orthodox, and the Greek Orthodox. One thing is, on Sundays, I go to my Armenian church. I receive the sacrament, which I believe is valid. But the rest of the time, and all the books I'm reading, the podcasts, the fellowship is usually with the Russian Orthodox or the Greek Orthodox. I've really received a lot of benefit from visiting Russian Orthodox monasteries. So I feel like I have one foot in this church and the other foot in that. But the idea of leaving my church is very difficult. I mean, they've welcomed me. My priest has really been important, and there's nothing in that church, which I know there's a Christological issue that separates the two churches. But if you take your Christological definition and repeat it to my priest and bishop, I'm pretty confident they're going to say, I agree with that. So that said, I mean, and I've talked to some people about this, but it's kind of a difficult issue. And I know you're in the Russian Orthodox,
Rokol.
Rorqual, right? So I mean,
That's right.
of course, you would probably want me to come into that church, but is there anything you can share about how having to be split in this manner?
It is. It's painful, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you know, I was having this very conversation with my wife last night about this, because we were talking about tomorrow's feast, or today's feast, as we're moving into the calendar. The celebration of the victory of orthodoxy, the triumph of orthodoxy, is on an ordinary level, on a parish level, our laity, if you talk to most people about the difference between the Armenian and the Russian church, and the theological differences, it would be meaningless, and I would say 99% of ordinary Christians, Orthodox Christians, wouldn't be able to verbalize anything about what that is. It's almost a meaningless thing on that level. However, the authority that we live under, the authority that our faith is lived within, comes from the apostles. It is an Episcopal church, apostolic. And so the authority of our priests, the authority of the mysteries, the sacraments within the church, is all based in the apostles, in our bishop. And tomorrow's feast of the triumph of orthodoxy, I mean, it's all about the church declaring, look, right belief is as much a moral issue as right action. And when we know that we are doing wrong, we know we must repent. And if we refuse to repent, we know that we're in a mortal danger. Our soul is in real danger. And I would not, under any circumstances, be saying this to you had you not asked me directly, because it's not something I would ever bring up with an Armenian Orthodox, because it wouldn't be my approach. But because you've asked me, I would say the authority of my own priesthood and the mysteries that I share with my people come from my bishop, who has been given and protects the truth of the apostles and the truth of Christ. And tomorrow's feast really declares, look, it's not just about saying anathema to those who are heretics, anathema to those who are schismatics. What it is saying is the truth, the full truth, the fullness of the truth that we have been given is where our salvation lies. And once we begin to veer, and who are we to say, oh, just a small step, oh, it's really just a translation, or oh, it's just only a small interpretation. Once we start stepping beyond the boundaries of the truth of the faith, then, well, we are in danger of being lost, I would say. So, from my own perspective, I mean, I was in the Greek church, and then sadly, very, very sadly, and it was extremely painful. As you say, I am now in the Russian church, primarily because of ecumenism, because of very modernist trends, and ultimately because of the schism and what's going on in Ukraine. I just felt that my soul was in danger if I remained where I was, and so that's why I sought out the Russian church. Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry, that's a very long answer.
No. That's, hey, you can keep on talking. It's fine. But I think that my approach currently, to have one foot here and one foot there, it's not going to last. I mean, I don't know how it's going to go on, but I do pray for God to help me with this. And speaking of different churches, as I don't know if you heard the other callers, but I get this is something like a heterodox channel. I get a lot of Catholics I talk to, Protestants even. In the United States, the Orthodox is maybe 2% of the total, and in terms of the audience, I would say more Catholics watch me than Orthodox. So I'm talking to Catholics a lot. I know a little bit about Catholicism. I don't urge them to leave their church, and I'm not qualified to do that. But what approach should I take where I want to be a shining light of the true faith, but I'm talking to a lot of different faiths? And one problem I see also is a lot of people pick and choose what to believe in. Like, they bring faiths that are not even in their church. They have a little bit of the New Age sprinkled in, a little bit of the secularism. So it's tough because everyone's bringing with a lot of baggage, opinions that I don't even know what this is. So how can I even begin to talk to these people in a way that can help them?
Well, I think one of the very special things that you have to offer is the reality of your own transformation and the reality of your life and what Christ has done with you and is doing with you. And I've always believed that the most powerful evangelism, if you like, is not so much what we say, but it is the sharing of the truth of our own experience with God, and people will glimpse the truth of what God's grace is doing in our lives. And I mean, ultimately it is Christ who transforms hearts. It is the Holy Spirit who will work in people, regardless of what words you happen to use. You may stumble and use all the wrong words, but if the Holy Spirit wishes to work through those words in somebody's heart, he will. And so you don't have to worry about formulas and coming up with the right words. What you have to do is be truthful and be honest and let people see Christ. It is Christ that they're seeking. It's coming back to your earlier question, isn't it? You and I are unimportant in this, but what Christ is doing in us is the thing that everyone is looking for. Every Roman Catholic who loves their faith. I know so many devout Anglicans who genuinely long for more of Christ. They crave him. And when they begin to glimpse it, and for my own journey, the glimpse of more of Christ is what drew me to the Orthodox Church. So I would encourage you then just to do exactly what you're doing, to share in your own way what God has done in your life, the reality and truth of your own transformation, and that is where people will see Christ.
Great. And do you see from your observation of my work any traps I've begun to fall into, or something that I really shouldn't be getting into? Maybe I'm overstepping my qualifications. I'm speaking about things I shouldn't. Because when I get in front of a camera, I mean, no one tells me what I can say. You know, there's no one,
cool.
no authority that I am under. I don't have a spiritual father, so I have to check myself. Right. So it's like, have you seen me do anything that's obvious that maybe he shouldn't be doing that?
I haven't heard you kind of venture into areas that I frowned at. I'm wary of asking too many questions now because I'm aware we're on air and I don't want to delve too personally into your life. But,
I've shared everything. I mean, you can ask.
Okay. I mean, you're going to confession, I presume.
Yeah, so in the Armenian church, there is we have a public confession. You do it in front. I mean, you read a script in front of people, but you have the option to do private. So me and my priest, I've taken that option. Yes,
good. Yeah. Well, I mean, part of that confession is, as you know yourself completely, we're not talking about a kind of legalistic thing of naming just only specific things and trying to wipe them off the slate. We're trying to delve deeper in confession into the movement of the heart and the direction of our life, and so that I would encourage you to bring that up with your confessor and just talk about really your concerns as well, not just what you identify as sins, but your concerns about what might be wrong or where you may have gone wrong. If I may be as bold, because you've asked me, I would never have brought this up, but I would be wary though of being too critical of women who do still follow a lifestyle of promiscuity and dress a certain way, and
I've been trying to work on that. Yeah,
they're victims, aren't they? You know, they are icons of Christ, and when we celebrate the victory of orthodoxy, we are celebrating first of all the victory over the iconoclasts. But we remember that each of us, you, me, and even those poor women with their tattoos and their nose rings and their orange hair. Beyond those external things, what we see there in front of us is an icon of Christ. Christ is the first and ultimate, as God is the first and ultimate iconographer. And he made us in his image. And every one of those poor women who dress and make their appearance, however vulgar and often repulsive, you know, they will dress in a repulsive way deliberately. Within that, our calling is to see Christ, to see the icon of God there before us. Now, it's hard, and if anyone can see it in you and I, then they do a good job. But we too are called to see it in others beyond this fallen brokenness that every one of us shares.
When I first came to Christ and experienced this huge amount of grace, I thought, oh, I'm fine now. But really, there was a lot of things I still have to. But I think when I came to God, he knocked off overnight a couple of big sins that I was doing, lust. But the pride and the anger, I still have to work on that. I mean, it's like I have this flawed instinct when I see wrong to want to complain about it, attack it. And when you have Twitter and 70,000 people following you, you can attack people easily, and the dopamine comes in. So this is something that I've been trying to work on, not attacking people. I struggle, but that's something that, I was talking earlier, I don't know if you heard, but there was a Catholic who came on and he was criticizing Jay Dyer. I think you know who Jay Dyer is.
Yes.
And he was saying Jay Dyer was using drugs, and I said, wait, stop. As Christians, we can't be doing that. We have to pray, so we have to pray for the person instead. I sin too, and you sin. So a couple of years ago when I first came to Christ, I didn't get that point. And even now, I'm still trying to learn it. But I think that's the main idea of, when you see a woman who's doing things that she shouldn't, we should feel as sympathy. She's in the clutches of Satan just like I was, and we have to pray. And so thank you for sharing that.
Well, if I may say just one last thing, I won't hold up your other callers.
No, you can hold them up. It's fine.
Oh, bless you. But for yourself, and because of your own experience and your past, there is. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but there is also within you something more that you're going to have to work through, because when you're looking at women who are still dressing that way and still going through the motions of these behaviors that they're performing in public and so on, actually there's a history that still is a scar, I feel like, that spiritual wound again, and it will pick and it will prick at the wounds in you. And I think becoming aware that, we actually be looking deeper into ourselves and seeing, well, why am I finished? Why, when we get angry, when we get, I remember reading Bishop Anthony Krapowski, and he talks about anger as different to all of the passions, because anger is more of a signifier of passions. He said, look, anger isn't like the other passions where we can see that, lust and greed and all this. These are rooted within us, but anger, when it comes, indicates something else. It often indicates another passion that we're not even aware of. So Bishop Anthony always said, when we have become angry and we've calmed down and we take a moment to reflect, look at ourselves, say, what was I really angry? What was going on within me? What was actually creating this anger? And sometimes anger can be a means of seeing other passions that we weren't even aware of within ourselves. It can be quite useful. I'm not saying it's a good thing, obviously, but it can be a useful way of actually reflecting into ourselves. So take that anger and say, well, actually, what was I really angry about? What was actually being touched there deep within me, and what was flaring up that I may or may not have even been aware of? And then through our anger, God may reveal deeper things about ourselves to us that we need healing. Roosh, I'm gonna let your other callers go, because I myself knew what it was like, eager to get on and talk to you.
Can
Roosh,
I just ask one more thing?
Yes.
Can I just ask you one more thing?
Please do, of course. Yes.
Okay. So one thing is I am very grateful to God for allowing me to turn away from the life that I did. But sometimes it spontaneously comes, all the sins I used to do, things I forgot, and I think, oh, I was such an idiot. So I tend to be hard on myself. I tend to be hard on my past, maybe out of fear, so I don't go back. But I get a lot of people saying, oh, Roosh, don't be hard on yourself. It's fine. God forgave you. But doesn't Christ say, blessed are those who mourn? I'm guessing blessed are those who mourn over their sins. So I kind of want to be hard on myself, but not to the point where I don't think God forgave me. But I think I have to understand that, hey, my instinct is flawed. Don't think that everything is fine now. So what is your opinion on that? Can I be a little bit hard on myself? Can I mourn for the sins that I used to do?
I think the point you're at now, did you say just 2 years in, or just after?
Yes.
More than 2 years?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is early days, and that old life has still got its claws, and it's still, you may have resolved and repented and turned your back, and you've turned your face to Christ, and you are now on the road that you should be on. But the demons will be clawing at you, throwing up things at you to pull you back into that. And so, at least for the early part of this journey that you're on, you are going to have to keep that wall rigid and strong. And so condemnation of yourself in that way may be a really important thing. And as the time goes on, as it becomes more distant, as those habits and those passions have less impact on you, and they begin to fade, and let's pray to God, completely removed from your heart, then, there won't be the same need to be so forceful in your rejection of it, because you'll be so far away by that, from that point, that you'll have changed. So I think we have to remember as well, and I say this so often, people, and if I've ever said this and you've heard it, forgive me, but the fathers tell us that the imagination is at the periphery of our consciousness, of the nous, of the person, and it is there that the demons operate. It is there that the demons will try to catch us. They do not know the depth of our hearts like God does. They don't know the depth of our thinking and so on. But they operate on that level of imagination. That's why the fathers always say, never allow our imagination to be active in prayer. Close down the imagination, because we can become deluded and the demons can fool us. But it is in our imagination, and when it becomes mixed with memory and thoughts and fantasies, that we can be misled. And so actually being very firm with ourselves, particularly when a passion has had such a strong hold of us, is essential. So I think it's actually a good thing to do at this stage.
Okay, great. Well, Father, you don't know how blessed I am that you call. I do follow your work, and I'm kind of still shocked, but a lot of people are in the chat are shocked too. And I don't mean to inflate your pride by saying this, but I'm really touched that you've taken the time and you've answered my questions. Only thing I want to ask you is if we can maintain some kind of email dialogue, if maybe I have a question in the future, because without a spiritual father or even many spiritual elders, some things I'm figuring out on my own, which, as you know, is extremely dangerous. And if I have a question about something, if I can get in touch with you,
I would like that very much.
That would be great. Yeah. Okay, great. So,
and can I just repeat my thanks to you for writing your book? I think it's a fantastic read, and I encourage anyone listening to this broadcast to buy it and read it, because it is full of spiritual benefit, and I think it's a really good thing that you've done. So God bless you, and God bless the book.
Thank you, Father. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, bye-bye.
Okay.
Take care, Roosh. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And we'll speak. Bye-bye.
Okay, great. Wow. I don't think you guys know what just happened. A important priest called in. His name is Father Spyridon. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Spyridon? Hold on, let me make sure I get it right so you guys can find him. I've seen his videos on YouTube. I've watched him since I came to Christ. And he called in. Oh my goodness. Sorry. What's his YouTube channel? Let me show it to you. Okay, here he is. Oops, that's the wrong browser. Okay, here it is. Father Spyridon. Spyridon. Okay, so again, I'm sure you guys know who he is. He also wrote a book that actually has come back to me. Other people have told me to read this book, and let me find it real quick so you guys can see it. this book, Orthodoxy in the Kingdom of Satan. So a couple people have told me to read this book, and the man who just spoke is him. We have been blessed to have him on. I mean, I could have kept on going. I could have talked to that man for hours. On that note, let me use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Oh my goodness. Best live stream ever. If you told me maybe 5 years ago that one day you're going to do a live stream and you're going to be floored that a priest called in, I think, what, a priest? What would I talk to him about? And here I am. While I was talking to him, I was writing down questions so I could ask him. I was trying to go through them. Wow. Thank God. I mean, you know, it's just, yeah. It's great. I hope you can see how God guides me. How, you know, maybe I'm, again, don't have a spiritual father, let's say, but God sends me holy men to aid me, you know, and while you got to hear the conversation, it was for my benefit. I was asking him questions that I needed help on, and he gave me answers. So this is how God looks out for me. I hope you saw it. Again, if you are a Christian, there is no such thing as coincidences. And I am very honored that he liked my book. I mean, that was a priest liked my book. That's the first priestly review. So he said it would help people, and that's my intention. That's why I wrote it. You know, it wasn't to make the bucks. It was to help people, and by sharing my story, by testifying what God did to me, and yeah, I feel good. I feel, you know, it's just, it's moments like this, the actions of divine providence. This is what gives happiness. This is what makes me feel joy, you know, of having a conversation like that, a little coincidence, a affirmation that I'm on the right path. This is what in life now brings me joy. I don't get pleasure from what I used to do, obviously, but this is it, you know, talking to holy men, fellowship with other Christians. This is what life is now. And Okay, so I feel bad for the person who has to go after him. But just one more. Let me show again Father Spyridon Bailey. I have to learn how to say that name. Spyridon. Father Spyridon Bailey. You can go to his YouTube channel, go Father Spyridon, and his book on Amazon. You do a search for Father Spyridon Bailey, and you'll find it there too. So great. Okay, let's get to the next caller, who is probably not happy, but that's okay. Okay, get to the next one. Ooh, this person has been waiting a long time. All right. Hello, caller, you're now live.
Oh, hey, Roosh.
This person has been waiting a long time. Okay, you can...
Can you hear me?
Yes,
you
can
turn you off
mute
on
the
other phone over
video.
here.
Sorry you had to wait such a long
that.
time, but the priest came. The priest called, and when the priest calls, you have to talk to him.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to. I might follow this guy.
I don't know how. Look, I mean, I'm in a state that's a little different than before he called. It's a state of spiritual joy. So you're gonna have to work with me by slowing it down, because you're going to try to bring me back to the world, of the worldly problems, and that's fine. I do want to help you, but I'm going to be a little bit slower.
Well, I don't know if I should. I mean, I did have some inspiration when you were talking to him a little bit, because you guys talked about, if you meet a woman and she's got a lot of partners or whatever, and I wanted to mention that for me, if I had done that, I wouldn't have married the woman that I'm with, and marrying her was the best decision ever. And I guess the insight that I had on that was that it's a good idea to maybe throw the book away in a lot of ways, especially now in this age that we're living in. I mean, back in the day, you would never want to marry a woman who had a lot of sexual partners, but I think today, because of what's going on, we've got to change it, and maybe God's helping everyone. God obviously helped me to find a wife, even though I wasn't really spiritual when I found her. But in my mind, there's no other way that we could have gotten together, considering both of our circumstances.
One question I would ask you is, does repentance and God's grace heal the wounds from a life of sin? I think the answer is clear that it does. God's grace does heal. Repentance does heal. Healing is often a process. It's even me, I'm still healing from my past sins. So we cannot, as Christians, we cannot say, oh, because she's had X amount of partners, she's corrupted, she's not good anymore. She's just a wasted human being, or the same for guys too. Now, if you were secular and you're having to apply an algorithm, a mathematical equation to if this person is worthy or not, past a certain number, and that number could be 5, 20, whatever, past a certain number, you would look at that partner and say, this person is irredeemable, useless. This is in the secular mindset. But the number that this person uses to declare someone irredeemable is arbitrary. It's just based on his own personal experience, but he doesn't know the inner state of her soul. He's using these kind of shortcuts, hacks, guesses to try to minimize pain to him in the future with a failed marriage. So I think if a woman has repented honestly, and it's pretty clear when someone repents, their life changes. You can't change it otherwise. If a person repents and you see that partner, whether a wife or husband, is being sent to you from God, whatever happens at that point, you should not worry about, even if the marriage doesn't work. It's God's will. You're on God's path now, and God's path has suffering, has difficulty. In many cases, it has more suffering than the secular path. Maybe not a divorce, hopefully, but it's going to be hard. But why are you worried about it? Now God is on your team, right? So that's how I see it.
Yeah, those are good points. And yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, like it's pretty hard not to be cynical nowadays. And you go online and you see all these men complaining about the state of women with good cause, and I share in those complaints. But what the priest said about seeing Christ in people and maybe I don't know how to phrase it correctly, but really trying to see the good in someone and give them a chance if you think if you go on a date with a woman or something, and not prejudging perhaps based on what she tells you about her past, but understanding how she is in the present perhaps.
Yeah. And did you say that you are married now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I think one of the hardest decisions that anyone has to make is who to marry. But we have to use it more from the perspective of faith, that your faith is strong. If your faith is strong and you show it, a woman who's not a part of that faith is going to have a really hard time connecting with you, because you just live by God. Like me, I live by God. I trying to live by God alone, faith alone. And a woman who's not there is not going to want to really deal with that. I mean, she maybe if she's really attracted to me, she can fake it for a while. But I think the best defense against not getting, say, burned by a woman whose faith isn't strong is just showing your faith. I mean, I can't even go 10 minutes in talking to a person, whether man or woman, without referencing God in some way, whether direct or indirect. There's no way a woman who is merely attracted to me but living a purely secular life will be able to tolerate that. And I know that because people I know from, say, my pre-repentance stage now can't really stomach what I'm talking about currently. I can see their body language, their eye rolls. I get it. They're not there. But so I'm not so worried about that. I think, build your faith. You don't be shy about it. Of course, don't reveal it in a prideful way or in a way that's kind of like the what's that church, the Westboro Baptists. They hold signs in the streets that all gays are going to hell. I'm not talking about that, but I'm not so worried. I mean, you are going to pair with someone who is the reflection of your spiritual state. And if your spiritual state is solid, is good, you're going to get someone who's probably has it too. Doesn't guarantee anything, though. I hope you're not looking for a guarantee, because you're not going to get it. But you don't have to worry about, is this the perfect person? I mean, there is no such thing anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could be like, hey, everybody do what I did. But I feel like I said earlier, that God really set it up, and it was kind of just a random chance that I mean, I guess it was definitely a decision that I made when I started dating her. I realized that she was very different from all the women that I'd ever dated. And that made me kind of switch from, I mean, basically before I met her, I didn't think I'd get married ever. And I thought I'd be single, sleeping with random girls in the city forever. And then I met her and I was like, well, I better not screw this up. So that's what happened to me. But I can't say that's what everybody should do. But I did want to say that one thing, I think, your writings, I know you're ashamed of them, but, I was not confident with women before I started dating. And it did take, for me, learning the PUA stuff, the pickup artist stuff, to become confident to women to the point where I was able to do what I did, which is meet her. Although I met her through a friend, so maybe that's not true. But the theme here is that it's the E. Michael Jones quote, or what he says, which is that God transmutes these sins into good.
Only God could allow you to take my evil content, PUA content, and use it for good within the confines of a Christian marriage. But I could not do that. I didn't intend that. I kind of intended for guys to have fun. So I'm glad that you didn't use you weren't damaged by it. But unfortunately, most men didn't use it in the way that you did. Most men just wanted to get laid. And so that's what that social technology was for. But yeah, if your social confidence was low, if maybe you had some social abilities that you just weren't confident or something was wrong, yeah, some PUA knowledge could get you up to speed. But it really takes a man who has a good conscience or faith not to use it in the evil way that I kind of intended.
Yeah, and I mean, I did do that also, so I have those sins on my conscience as well.
Make sure you confess those.
Yeah. Well, I didn't plan on talking about that, but like you said, I mean, this is where the stream has gone. So I wanted to thank you. I did just get your book in the mail today. I'm very excited to read it.
Good. Yeah, I would love to. For everyone who's bought the book, please drop me an email, a note. Just let me know what you think, because I am starting to mull over the next book, and like I've said, this is my first book. Yeah, I've written 18 books or whatever, but this is my first book. This is the start of my writing career. Is 2021 at 41 years of age. So what book do I write after this? And so I definitely use the feedback that people give me to shape that next work.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to have it a physical copy. I mean, I feel like physical copies of books like yours are going to be harder and harder to find as time goes on. And to me, your book is going to be an amazing account of right before the U.S. descended into hell, which is what we've seen in the last year.
You'll see some parts of that book that we may have already been there. So
yeah,
but
well, of course. I mean, this has been coming for a long time.
Yeah. But
100 years at least.
But thank you for supporting my work. I hope God blesses you and your wife, that both of your faith, even though maybe you kind of married in somewhat of a secular way, that it turns into a really fruitful Christian marriage.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what's happened, and we moved away from the big city into a very conservative part of the country, and everyone around us is Christian, I mean, it's just our life is so much better now than it was when we first met.
Okay, caller. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Roosh, for everything you do, and for the book, and for your forum and your live streams.
Thank you.
They're all a great blessing.
Let me know what you think of the book.
Okay, will do.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
All right. Caller, you're now live. You are now live, caller.
Okay.
Hey, Roosh.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Roosh?
Now, I haven't had a caller that was antagonistic. Are you that caller?
No, I'm not antagonistic.
Okay. No, I was just joking.
But I like to talk about things I like to think about things that are maybe perhaps controversial, though.
That's fine. So where are you calling from?
I'm in Virginia, actually.
Oh, you're not that far. Are you in northern Virginia or in other parts? Okay, so you're probably very close to me. We're in the same. Yeah. You're within a stone's throw. I'm looking out the window and I can see you almost.
Yeah, actually, that was part of the reason I first started reading your blogs and stuff. Is you were talking about the women in the DC area. I'm like, I kind of relate to this guy.
Now, are you still in the game, so to speak?
No, not really. I've been trying to focus on my spirituality and stuff like that.
Good. Okay.
But I still want women, But I'm trying to prioritize my life problems right now. But yeah, I know. And also, all right, so Jay Dyer was just streaming at the same time as you, and I was kind of watching both of your streams. And before, there was a guy saying he gets on his nerves or something. And I like Jay Dyer. He's a smart guy. I learned about philosophy from him. But one of the problems that I do have with him is that he's always trying to create these arguments like amongst different types of Christians. I mean, mainly he goes after the Catholics, but I mean, he basically creates this big thing between Thomism and Palimism, which, like, you know, I don't even think the Armenians even accept
I
Palamas.
haven't gotten there yet. Like me, my faith is still on the practical side. I haven't gotten into the deeper theological issues. But which church are you currently in? Or are you in a church?
I haven't actually gone to church in a while. Tomorrow I was about to go to a Rockcore church.
That's a good idea.
To try it out. Because this is the problem. This is what kind of why I was thinking about theology. Because, like, I'm in this situation now where, like, I don't even know, like, what is the right church I should go to. Like, I was actually, I had a similar story to you where, like, I was baptized into the Catholic Church, but I never really believed it growing up. And then I had, like, a religious experience later in life. I'm like, oh my God, the Bible's real. I gotta do something about that.
I think for someone who's looking, I was going to say, for someone looking to join the church, the Rorkhor, which is the Russian church abroad, or the Antiochian, those are your two. I would start with those two options. And I know there's 3 Rorkhor churches kind of in the DC area. There's one in PG County, one in DC, and one in Stafford. And I think there's one that's further south in the Richmond area. I'm not sure. But so you have a couple of options there. In the Antiochian, I know there's one in Bethesda, and there may be a smaller one in Kensington, Maryland. So you have a couple of options there. And I would visit them, you know, every Sunday, go to one, see how it goes. And then after that, I think your heart is going to speak to you at some point on which church you like the most, but you have to start to put the work in.
I went to this, like, Western Rite Antiochian church before. I mean, it was nice and everything. You know, it was nice. It's just like, you know, sometimes, like, I wanted to ask you something. Why do you think God created the church?
Why did God create the church? So so the church was created by Jesus Christ. Christ came here to create the church as a means for our salvation. So he created the church as a way for us to learn to be more like God in order to deal with our sins, how to worship, how to confess, how to, you know, so it's really it's a gift that he gave to us to save our souls. Without the church, what would we have? I mean, how could God save us if we didn't have this, the bride of Christ? So that's what the church is for.
Well, if you ask a Protestant, they'll say you just have to accept Jesus and be born again.
You just need the Bible, right? And the Bible, of course, was given to us by who? The church. So the church assembled the Bible.
See, here's the thing: is that you have this whole East-West divide between the Roman Catholics and the Byzantines, right?
Yes.
So then you have this whole issue of, like, oh, who's really right? And then you're like, this is the thing I was talking about with Jay Dyers. He's always talking about Catholics. And, like, the Catholic Church is probably at its, like, weakest point in history, arguably, right now. And so a lot of what he's doing, in my opinion, he's basically kicking them while they're down. And I don't really see that as, like, the spirit of Christ or whatever. I understand that, like, he has a lot of good points about theology and all that. But if you look at, like, which church actually went out around the whole world and is, like, universal to, like, all the nations, it was pretty much the Catholics and, like, also the Protestants, which are, like, branched off. So, like, me just trying to, like, look at it analytically, maybe I'm trying to use my own, like, mind too much and not my heart. But
now I don't control what Jay does. You know, I don't tell him what to do. I don't guide him.
I'm not trying to bring that up, but
he's doing his way. I mean, that's I don't know. I don't know why he does the things he does. I can tell you from my perspective, a lot of I kind of am at the point in faith where just experiencing fellowship with other Christians, no matter what their denomination, we have so much common ground. Like when I went on my trip to the southern part of the United States, I lived in Alabama, and there I met a lot of Southern Baptists. And this is Bible only, sola scriptura. You don't need to go to church. There's no real sacraments of confession. There's only only baptism. There's no really communion and things such as that. I didn't argue with them. I experienced fellowship with them. We had a lot of deep conversations about Christ. No one was trying to convert anyone. No one was arguing. I didn't feel displays of pride. So for me, my experiences with Catholics, with Protestants, with Orthodox who are in not my branch, like the Russian Orthodox, I haven't experienced a lot of strife and arguing. Sometimes in my last call-in, a couple of Protestants came on and they wanted to argue with me. But yeah, so I don't want to argue with people. I don't. I don't. I mean, if you want to argue with me about something, you can ask me questions. I'll give you my answer, but I'm not going to have the debate. So why do some Christians think that maybe they want to criticize this church or that? I don't know. I really don't know. For me, for my personality, where I am in faith, I don't do that. So I guess you're going to have to, take the good from the bad. Some people, maybe you like what this YouTuber does, you take the good. I don't know,
I mean, I like the Orthodox Church. I think they're good, but like also, I have like family that goes back to like the Catholic Church, and I like some of that too. And my thing is, like, when I just look at the world, I see like these Jews and Freemasons and everybody. They seem to use a lot of these like divide and conquer tactics, right? So the blacks versus the whites in America, the left versus the right. These are like divide and conquer tactics, right? So like, why my thing is like, is there any way we can try to bring Christians together? Wouldn't that be the right thing in some way?
Yeah, that would be the ideal. But if by bringing Christians together, you water down the faith, which is what some of the ecumenical movement is doing, where, okay, we all believe Jesus Christ was a really special guy. That's like the common ground. And we believe in love. I mean, that kind of waters the faith down. Now, will you be saved by that watered down faith? Probably not. So once the schisms and the divides happen, at that point, it's about preserving the faith in at least one place, so that if someone wants to be saved and they hear the call of repentance from within their soul, they have a church that they can go to. Now, many people argue for hours and hours and through books that the real church is this. If you're not in, say, the Catholic Church, you won't be saved. If you're not in the on and on. That's not the role that I play. But yeah, I, on the surface, agree with you. There should be only one church, and everyone who goes to that church will be, experience the fullness of the faith. But Satan exists, and Satan and his demons, they're trying to divide. And he's, as the Bible shows, the last book of the Bible, he's going to cause a lot of problems for us at the end. And some people say we're at the end now, and every generation of Christians probably thinks they're at the end, but it sure does feel like it. But yeah.
No, I don't think so. Because so I've read the Bible a lot. I try to study it, and I basically think the Book of Revelation, at least the half of it, is mostly about the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. That's called partial preterism. I mean, there is like a lot of these, like, it is very cryptic, so it's like a lot of people interpret it. I mean, the whole like rapture stuff, that's pretty much tied into like Christian Zionism. And that's I don't know exactly what the Orthodox eschatology is, but
it depends. Like,
I basically assume the world will go on forever, and that like there's this evil, like, I don't know, we have to.
That's not what the church believes. So that is not a church stance.
Well, no, I'm not. Well, all right, maybe not forever, but like. Things will keep on going. Like I wouldn't expect like any like end times. I don't see the point in thinking this now is the end time. It's just like for the people in Russia who got murdered by the Bolsheviks.
Where did you come up with that idea that things are going to go on forever, more or less?
Well, because I mean, what is the time frame we're talking about here?
Did you read that somewhere, or is that your personal opinion?
Well, there are some Psalms that like say like whatever it goes on forever. But I understand that like Christ will come again to judge us and all that. But it's not 100% clear if you just read the Bible.
Well, it's not clear to you, but to the Orthodox Church, it is clear. So you're going against what the church says on that, based on your interpretation. This is the problem. Okay, look, and I disagree with you on that.
But what is the Orthodox eschatology? When will how is the world going to end, and how long should it take? It's impossible to know, right? So what is the point of like thinking, oh, it might be now?
Now they don't have a specific date, but they believe that the world will end. The world will wrap up like a scroll when Jesus Christ comes, and it will be over. The end of human history. Human history will end. The whole universe that we know of will disappear. That is the Orthodox teaching. Now, when it's going to happen, we don't predict dates, but that's the teaching in every Orthodox church you will find. I mean, that's what it is. So if you want to go against that, now you're in your own church. You've created your church.
I'm not trying to create my own church.
You can rent some space in a strip mall and start your own church.
I'm just saying, when I look, I haven't found the perfect church yet. Like, I've looked at all of them. That's why I'm going to the road court. They seem pretty good. But, like, there's problems in the Orthodox Church, too. And, like, people are like, oh, you can't say anything. But then, like, there's this whole problem. Like, Jesus came to the...
But why are there problems? Because these are human-run churches. Humans are bringing problems. But it's not a problem because of Christ, how he established the church. It's the problems that humans who are fallible, born in a post-fallen world, they've brought to the churches. For every bad pope, there's a bad bishop in this church. So humans have brought problems. They are corrupting the faith with Satan's help. Judas, he was an apostle. He was one of the 12. Christ gave him gifts to heal, to drive out demons. I mean, he gave him incredible gifts, and Judas sided with Satan to kill Christ. So this is, going to happen. Now, when you say perfect church, I think, because there has been some corruption that's ongoing. Is there corruption in this church or that? I'm not qualified to say, but I think your standard is going to set you up for saying there's no perfect church. I'm not going to join all of them. I'm going to be a part of a church of one, me. So what I would do is find the best church that you believe has maintained the teachings of Jesus Christ.
Okay. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
But but it kind of goes like, I'm just trying to, like, there is faith and like reason two different things. Can like we reason out these things, or I understand that there's dogmas and like you have to follow the dogma and all that, but like at what point can you not like question it? That's the other thing I kind of
I mean, if you question things, is it pride or is it faith? But generally speaking, if you're so far not in a church yet, you're only starting to walk into it, I would argue that you questioning the church is pride currently. But if you've been in the church for a while and you see changes that are taking it away from the faith, at that point, I wouldn't say it's pride. But right now, I can feel a Protestant. There's a feeling coming out of you that's Protestant. I'm not saying you are. I don't.
America is a Protestant country. I mean, that's
sure. So maybe you internalize, the very individualistic nature of the people here. Everyone serving their own will, everyone forming their own opinions and judgments. But I feel a Protestant feeling out of you, where you kind of want to figure things out on your own. In that extent, you want to judge on your own. To a point. But once you find the church, that's it. There's no more of your judgment. You study the church fathers, the desert fathers, those who interpreted the text, saints, those who have saint in front of their name. I mean, that's a good start. Your priest, your bishop, current priests and monks, and so on. But right now, you don't have that, and you're trying to figure it out. How is it going to work?
I have books by Athanasius. I have.
Okay, good.
I've read some Maximus the Confessor, and
so that's not
pretty
bad.
much Yeah, but here's the thing is that, like, if you ask an Orthodox, they'll say, oh, they're Orthodox. If you ask a Catholic, they'll say, oh, those are Catholic saints. You know,
What
and that's what
does
I'm saying. Like,
okay, so you have to look at all of them, look at the landscape, and then based on what you know, and pray on it, ask God to reveal his church. Ask him. Why would he not show you? Okay. And then you're talking to a man who has confirmed that your choice of a church is good. Now, I don't know. Is God working through me to help to tell you that, yes, you're on the right path? I don't know. But so I think you're in the right direction, but I sense hangups here and there. But I think look at all the churches, but you have to start to go to them, ask questions to the priests and the deacons and so on. I think you're on the right track.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
just be a little bit careful that even though the church you go to seems like it has the faith, one day the bishop can come and say, hey y'all, I want all the Christians in my church to get the vaccine or something. You know, but it doesn't mean the church is bad. It means that the bishop is flawed, right? And again, he's going to have to account. But don't get too hung up, I would say, on this action or that action of the bishop or even the pope. Just look at the church overall, where it is, what the faith is, what they teach, how they teach salvation happening, how they teach, what the prayers are. Look at all that. And then see, is this a place where my soul can be saved?
Yeah, okay.
It isn't easy.
No.
It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy with Satan and his demons running around trying to condemn us all. It's not supposed to be easy. But just,
when I read about Orthodoxy, there's this whole idea of theosis where you become like more godlike in yourself. Like it's not just a matter of you die and you go to heaven. Like you're on earth and you're becoming like more like a god or something like that.
Yeah, so it's basically through grace we become more like God. So God wants us to reside with him in eternity, to have the same gifts, to have gifts, to experience the gifts that he has, but to give it to us through grace that he has through his nature. That's what he wants. He wants us to experience the glory of eternal life. And so, but you don't have to wait for after you die. You experience grace here, but you have to make the choice. You have to choose away from evil to serve God here. And step by step, he's going to help you. He's going to give you more gifts, more powers. And I don't mean powers as in like a superpower, but more gifts to experience what you were, how he intended you to be. God didn't make us so that we can be swimming in the mud and the filth and being a fornicator or a homosexual or being gluttonous and all these sins. That's not why he made us for. So if with his help, we can be who he intended us to be when he made the world.
Okay, yeah. But one thing I think about a lot of too is that like I'm like someone who spent a lot of time studying, like trying to figure all this stuff out. But like most of the people out there, they have no idea about any of this like religious stuff, like so it's like isn't it also like the duty to like try to spread God's like salvation to other people too,
yes, but not all in the same way. God is going to allow you to do it in the way that he deems fit. So for you, it could be that the way to spread the word of Christ is simply to get married and share it with your kids. For me, it could be getting in front of a YouTube. For this person, it could be volunteering at a shelter. For that man, it could be becoming a monk or a priest. So for each of us, it's different. So, God gave us gifts, but for like, say, someone who has an IQ that is low, an IQ of 90, they can still be saved, they can still have faith, but you probably don't want them to read difficult books, right? or they probably can't anyway. So you don't want them to teach in that way, but they can still testify. So it's really, we're all going to be different. We're all going to approach it in a different way. Like you mentioned, Jay, he gets into some heavy theological ideas. That's, for me, a lot of it goes over my head totally. That's not a gift that I have. I don't think it ever will be a gift that I'm going to teach Byzantine theology to people. I don't think so. I really doubt it. That's not what I'm called to do, I doubt. So, but for him, maybe it is. And he's brought a lot of people to the faith too. And I joined his Orthodox Discord. There's a lot of men in there, talking about God. So he's serving his role in his way that we may not agree. You may not agree with him, but so we're each going to be different. And for you, I don't know what that is. You're going to have to, start to pray on it, go to church and see where your faith, it leads you, see who it brings you in front of, what people is going to come to you in need of some kind of help.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's a good stream. I appreciate the stream, Roosh.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. And I hope that tomorrow you do go to church and take a look. Go and see.
Yeah. Okay, I will. Yeah. All
right, friend. Okay. God bless you.
You too.
Bye-bye. Sometimes I can be a little hard on people, but I can tell he was trying to seek. He is seeking, and may he find a church that he believes is the true faith. Let me turn the oven on, get ready for my pizza, and I'll take a couple more calls after that. Someone in the chat said, Roosh, when did you start looking into Christianity? At what age? I read the Bible for the first time on a purely intellectual level in 2015. So this was 6 years ago. I was 35. So that's the first time I applied some energy into understanding it, but it was purely on I was seeking wisdom. It wasn't a faith seeking exercise. Should I have a vegan brownie to help sustain me, the coconut oil? Let's get the next caller. I want to try to get them all, but all right, caller, you're now live.
Hey, Roosh, how you doing?
What's going on, and where are you calling from?
I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
New Mexico. Okay. What is going on?
Well, I just wanted to call and thank you so much for the book. I'm in the early stages of reading it, and I've been really, really enjoying it.
Great.
I followed the Babylon Roads series very closely as that was going on back in 2019, and it was something I really enjoyed, and always thought that you could have made some kind of documentary, but to put it into a book was I think even better in a way.
Yeah, I keep telling people that I'm a writer. These live streams, video stuff, that's like an accident of the technology of the times. I don't mind this. I like talking to people, but I like to write. I like to be alone and in my own mind. And so really, I hope that my best work is the written stuff.
Yeah, this is the first book I've purchased of yours, and one of the thoughts that I was having is it's just kind of, as I'm just getting into it, is were you kind of journaling as you were traveling back in 2019?
Yes, so I was maintaining a written diary. Because otherwise there's no way I could have just recalled all that stuff.
Yes. It's funny. It's interesting. Kind of early on, a few of the little trials and tribulations and things that came your way. One of the and I do enjoy you do add a touch of humor in there too, which you're just kind of I don't know if it's a wry sense of humor, but I do catch a little bit of that.
It is dry, yes.
That as well. What I was cracking up about last night when I was reading was when you were in New York. I think you were staying maybe with a friend, and maybe his wife asked you what you thought of the city, and your response was, "It smells." I thought that I got a kick
It does
out of
smell.
that.
It stinks.
That wasn't the answer she was expecting, though.
No, because look, if you choose to live in New York City, you have determined that its downsides are not bad enough. You know, that things are great, all your options, eating options, entertainment options. So when I basically said her city sucks, yeah, she didn't. I could tell I wasn't going to be her best friend.
But I'm really looking forward to just kind of seeing the transformation throughout as the book progresses too. As I said, I'm in the early stages of it, finally getting down to reading it, and I just wanted to share. And there were two quick little kind of spiritual stories personally that I wanted to share, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I was back home over Thanksgiving visiting my parents. My parents are from Wisconsin, and that's where I'm from originally. And it was really interesting. I hadn't taken communion in years and years and years. And a friend of my parents brought some over for them. They were, of course, scared of the virus and everything, and were watching remotely, which I did not really. That's very odd to be trying to watch a service remotely. But my mom handed me, during the communion process, I was raised Catholic, gave me the host, and it was crazy because I
Before you go
that,
on, can you wait, you were watching remotely from home? Or
yes, my parents watched the church. Were watching the church.
Where did they
services from
bring
home.
So for those who are not Catholic, they call the communion bread the host. So where did they get the host from?
A friend of my mom's from the church got some priest.
But okay, so are they handling it? Are they touching it?
They're in this special little container that's really interesting.
What the heck? Is this like the Protestants that give crackers? They pass out cracker packets? What is this? This is the body and blood of Christ. You can't be handling that, layman. Sorry, I'm trying to understand that. But anyway, so the host was passed to you?
A special little container with a cross. But then my mom presented it to me, and I felt the Spirit. It was amazing, kind of wash through me.
Okay.
I hadn't taken communion in years and years and years, and it was just a really interesting experience, a powerful experience.
Okay, good. Hey.
And then one other story I wanted to share, and I kind of wanted to get your thoughts. This is one I don't offer very often, but I just always really appreciate your openness with everything. And when I was a small child, probably 5 or 6 maybe, I had a vision of Jesus and Mary.
Okay.
It was pretty wild. I still see it clear as day. So I was sitting on the couch in our family room, and I saw this white...
Okay, can I just say I have a bad feeling where this may go, but continue. Okay, sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So I was sitting on the couch, and I saw this white kind of apparition in the neighbor's yard, and it was coming closer and closer and closer. And finally, I started to realize, at least in my young mind, that it was Jesus and Mary, and they were like all white, kind of silver. Mary was on his right, and they looked like Jesus was like had his hands kind of walking with his hands behind his back, like looking like he was deep in thought, and I felt this fear as a small kid, and I can't quite ever figure out why I felt that fear.
Okay. That's all? Whew.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
What
trying
were-
to.
what were- what
But
were
how
you
did you
thinking,
know?
Roosh?
I don't. Listen. Dreams can be anything, right? But how did you
Yeah.
know that it was Jesus and Mary?
Well, because it looked like them the way you would see them portrayed.
Can I ask you, when was the last time you received communion? Because you said Thanksgiving was that time.
Prior to that,
No, after that.
that was the only time.
Now you said when you received communion, you felt a spiritual joy, or some
Yes.
kind of joy. You haven't received communion since then, so you don't want to experience that anymore. Like why haven't you? I mean, I received a call from a priest where I received spiritual joy. So I want to talk to him again, and I asked him if I can have a dialogue with him. So if I'm trying to understand you, like why aren't you in your church? I mean, could that have been a sign that you need to be in the church? You need to be receiving communion every week?
I think so. That I never looked at it through that lens before until you mentioned it, and I'm feeling, yeah, I that's really interesting. That I hadn't thought of that, Roosh, to be honest, and yes, to that joy, as you said, that spiritual joy. Now I'm feeling a little guilty.
No, nothing to feel guilty. I'm just saying, things look, I don't know. I don't know where people who call in, I don't know where they are coming from, but I mean, that's, to me, it seems, I don't know about your dream. I mean, that could mean anything, but at least you told me a story. You received communion that may have been handled in a weird way. I don't know what the Catholics are doing, but you felt something positive and you haven't sought that out. So if you're not seeking positive things out, then what are you doing?
Just, basically living in Albuquerque and trying to, take it one day at a time, I guess, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, tomorrow is Sunday.
Here.
If you're Catholic, go to church. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not like you're doing anything else. You don't sound like a busy guy. So go to church, receive communion from the priest directly if you can.
Well, I will, Roosh, and thank you.
Okay, sure.
I appreciate
Thank you very much.
it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye now. I don't know. I was a little confused with that caller. I was scared that his dream was going to be like a big troll. Could have been a troll, and he was like, I can't do this, and he stopped halfway through. I don't know. If you received communion and you felt a benefit, hey, that's a sign. Keep on doing that. So I hope the caller goes to church tomorrow. All right, let's get the next caller. Okay, caller, you are now live. Caller, you have to push pause on the video and talk to me directly.
Hello?
Yes, caller.
I'm just wondering about your take of Donald Trump now kind of doubling down and pushing these vaccines.
Okay. Now, can you tell me first, caller, where you are calling from?
I'm calling from North Texas.
Texas. All right. Donald Trump was a leader. He was the president of the United States. I believe he was reelected, but he did not surround himself with sharp fighters where he could grasp the victory that he actually had. He surrounded himself instead with hacks, Jared Kushner, Rudy Giuliani, who was a great man in his prime, but now he's a little bit old. So he's not a leader anymore. He's not the leader anymore. He doesn't have any power except the power of his mouth and tongue, or whatever political activism he can scrounge up, which I haven't seen. So therefore, it's either lead or get out of the way. So I think with Donald Trump, we're entering the get out of the way stage where Trump, you're not helping. If Trump really cared about this country, well, no, I don't want to use words that are that strong, but if Trump really cares about the country, he should endorse America First, because America First has a lot of the policies that he originally ran on. It has the energy, it has the people. He needs to endorse them. As for him endorsing the vaccine, well, that just shows you how he's endorsing the wrong thing. I don't know what he's doing. I think your guess is as good as mine. He's basically endorsing his followers to inject a toxin within them that was developed with fetal aborted cells. I don't agree with him there. I think now without his power, he's kind of lost, a chicken without a head, and seeing what he can do to get I don't want to say attention, but get the attention that he believes is coming his way. So I disagree with him there.
Okay. I guess, I just don't understand it either, really. It kind of just makes me question his everything he's done and everything he's stood for, and just, everyone kind of tried to justify it during the election campaign, like, he has to get the votes and this is what the people want. But now that's not really, he's not up for election. And he's doubling down on it. Like, I don't know.
Do you think that we made Trump out to be a man that he was not? Because let me give you a personal example. One of my ex-girlfriends, I poured into her all the attributes and qualities that I wanted her to have. And she knew this, and she kind of acted the role. She acted the part and was that girl that I wanted in every way, until she couldn't act anymore, until it was just an unnatural role for her and the real her started to come out. And I think for us, maybe with Trump, because he was so cool with how he would speak with the media, we kind of made him out to be this really strong leader who was always on her side and who shared our policies and views. But now if you look back, yes, some of them he did. And I mean, he did some great things. But now that Biden and it's not Biden, he's like a zombie, but Biden's team is rolling back basically everything he did. The Supreme Court nominations were useless. The border, the immigrants are pouring in. I mean, it's not even from a perspective of like human decency and safety, what they're allowing at the border. It makes no sense. So I guess I'm a little bit down too, that maybe he wasn't that man, and maybe anything positive he did, it doesn't even matter anyway. They're just going to roll it back.
I guess that's kind of how I feel too. I feel like, like we've almost been had. Like, I never was into politics too much. I kind of took the approach of that it's just all a song and dance, kind of, they're all on the same team. And I think for the last 6 months or year of the presidency, especially when Biden was really getting pushed, I thought, well, at least he's a lot better alternative. And I think I kind of got sucked a little too far in to actually believing the narrative. And now it kind of seems to me like the whole thing was kind of just like a good cop, bad cop type of show. And just, I know he did some good things and he was maybe better than the alternative, but it's just a real stumbling block for me. I can't imagine why he's just pushing the vaccine. Like, does he have that much pride that just this is his thing?
Yes. He has a lot of pride, and we tried to cash in on it. We tried to cash in on his ego and his statements and his tweets. But I think this kind of comes back to don't put your trust in any man. He's not going to save us. I don't think I think also the problems of the United States are so complex, so entrenched that even if a man was completely based, he's not going to be able to solve it. I think we need a movement where that instead of us putting all our hopes and dreams into a man who's going to magically wave his wand and solve it, we have to, it's kind of like that Michael Jackson song, The Man in the Mirror. We have to be the change that we want, as corny as that sounds, but we have to participate. We have to repent of our sins. We have to treat our neighbor better. We have to take care of our family. We have to, be the shining light of Christ to people around us. Get involved in positive movements that are trying to bring some kind of natural, moral, Christian order to this country, instead of, I'm just going to go and vote for this guy and everything is going to be fine. I have to be honest with you that in 2016, when I cast my ballot for Trump, that's what I kind of hope for, that I can still keep fornicating or whatever nonsense I was doing in Europe at the time, and the world is magically going to get better. But no, the world only gets better depending on you. The world is really just a projection of the spiritual state of all the souls that live within it. So if you improve the spiritual state of your soul, the world gets better, maybe by a tiny amount, but it gets better. That's the really only way to improve. So when you become a part of a Christian raising of the tide, which I think, I'm a part of, and you calling in by default, you're a part of too. Once you become a part of that, that's when I think you can see improvements, at least in the local, within your relationships. And that's what we have to work on.
Okay, and I guess just my final comment is I guess like to just voice how disturbed I am just with this whole vaccine, and especially the latest news reports or whatnot that I'm seeing, that they're going to start trials now on infants, essentially.
6 months old, yes.
6 months
yes,
old.
That's right.
When all the data, like I've spent a bit of time just going over it to share with other people, just that infants basically aren't dying of this, and what like just how heinous exactly is it? If you could just maybe comment briefly more just about this whole vaccine thing, is just totally insane to me.
In terms of the babies, unfortunately, we do inherit the sins of our parents. If our parents don't have faith, then we're going to have some problems. So those babies at 6 months are going to be injected not by state mandate, but because the parents are doing it. So the parents don't have faith. They believe in scientism, the god of science, and they're going to impair their child's ability to live, a child's ability to process information, to be healthy, on and on. But we don't have to worry too much about God accounts for things that harmed you, that went against your free will, things that happen in ignorance, that you did evil without knowing. So I don't think we have to be too worried in the spiritual sense for those babies. God, we have an all loving God. He's going to account for the pain, the suffering, the abuse that those babies had to go through. That said, it's not going to be easy for us. And I'm sure you see how people are lining up for this. They're lining up for the vaccine. I know of people who get the first vaccine, have severe side effects, and does that make them decide not to get the second one? Nope, they still get the second one. I mean, it's, to us, it doesn't make sense, but you have to understand that you're existing now on a different mental plane. I don't know your faith. I'm guessing, I would guess if you're watching me, you believe in God, but the point is, you're not going to get it. You're just not going to understand them. You're not going to understand what motivates these people, what drives these people, what they're thinking. You're just not going to get it. And you're not supposed to, because they are operating on a different mental orientation as you. It's not going to make sense. It's just not going to make sense. And at first you see them hurt themselves, hurt their family, hurt their babies, and soon they're going to come after you. Soon they're going to try to hurt you in the workplace and what the politicians are doing. So yeah, it is unfortunate, but this is something that we have to go through. And we have to go through it now at this time. in human history for, believe it or not, the spiritual benefit of our souls. And we can't see that, but that's what it is.
And just another thing, I guess. So I live in a town of about 100,000 here, and it's the type of place where I can go about my day-to-day business and never get bothered about wearing the mask. Anywhere I go, even major department stores, Walmart. But the thing is, everybody else still wears it. So do you think, your view of the future, I guess, that it really seems like this is the new normal now, and we're like, these people are going to be wearing these masks for forever. I would, like, if I had to take a bet of a 50-50 chance, like, I think this is practically forever, not to be too pessimistic, but everyone's wearing it, and nobody bothers you if you don't wear it. So they're choosing to wear it, specifically in my town. And it's even worse other places. So I don't know. I guess this is it now, right?
My view of the future is to imagine, if you will, a boot stamped on our faces forever. But in terms of the mask, I was reading some work by Aldous Huxley. So I quoted 1984, but Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World, he highlighted how during moments of extreme stress and strife, human behavior can be permanently changed forever. So even if all mask mandates were lifted today, and I think in Texas the mask mandate was, right, you're going to have some people, and it's going to be a good percentage, probably 20%, who are going to wear a mask in public for the rest of their lives. The more extreme the stress, the more permanent the behavioral modification. The elites know this. This is old 1940s tech. I mean, this is old stuff. They've known it. And normally they use it they do these behavioral modifications during wartime, because war is a time of extreme stress. But you look at the increase in suicides that have been happening during coronavirus, and they're using this. This is like a simulated war, but without bombs. It's invisible bombs with viruses. You're going to see people are going to continue wearing 2 or 3 masks at a time, and it's going to be hard for you. Even I think at some point the mask mandates will ease up, because once the regime feels more confident of their power, and I think they will towards the end of this year. But once they do, you're gonna have to deal with trying to communicate with people who insist on wearing a mask, people who stay 10 feet away from you. This is never going to change, but you shouldn't be upset about it. It's just think of it as a filter. It's going to be a filter for you to know who you should talk to. Like if you were to ask me, hey Roosh, what is a good church? How can I find out? Before coronavirus, I would tell you, does the church have pews? Pews are bad. You don't want people to sit through. A lot of Orthodox churches don't have pews. Now I would say, does it have pews, and are most people wearing a face mask? So you want a church, let's say, that doesn't have pews and not a lot of people are wearing a mask. So use it as like a filter. I mean, use it as a filter to find people that you can connect with, find a good church, a good place to work. Suddenly blue collar jobs where you're not having to work at an office where the vaccines are going to be mandated. I think the stock in those have gone up too.
Yeah,
and can I ask you one thing? Are the Californians coming to Texas, or is this just kind of online hype?
To be honest, I'm from Toronto, and I just escaped Toronto. I've been here for the past few months.
Oh, okay. So you are part of the horde. You are part of the horde that's moving to Texas. You're going to turn Texas blue, man.
Well, I'm not going to turn it blue, but good. Toronto, you can't go outside your house.
Toronto's bad, dude. So Toronto is totally like an insane asylum. I mean, Toronto is something else. Insane. They've taken all the American degeneracies, and because of their inferiority, I don't want to accuse, but from what appears to be some kind of inferiority complex, to ramp it up, double it or triple it.
Yeah. Oh, it's 10 times worse than even these Americans. So I would go to pick up takeout, and they would have a takeout counter where no one's even there, and the people would come running across the restaurant to accost me for not having my mask on, picking up the takeout. So it was war. It was constant.
Well, I'm glad you got out of that, but I hope you don't mind that a lot of other people in these horrible places have the same idea as you, and they're going to Texas too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I guess just a final comment. So the
Sure.
other day I seen it was like a 50-year-old man and his wife with no mask walking outside, and then they have their son is with them. He's probably in his early 20s or late teens, and he's wearing the mask. So I just think that's a good example of kind of where we're going, because the newer generation, I think, they're totally indoctrinated. This is like their actual normal. This isn't even really their new normal, because they're being brought up in it. So I think these are the people who are now going to, in 10 or 20 years' time, really be taking over. And I don't know, I just thought it was an interesting contrast of the old people without the mask and then the son with it outside.
Yeah, and you have to think it's really bad for a young person to be insistent on wearing the mask, because young people, by their nature, they're more rebellious against authority, not as fearful of dying. But when you have young people, and a lot of them are, who insist on the mask and social distancing, you know that there's going to be a lot of difficult souls to deal with. It's going to be God. How is God going to reach these people? I don't know. And but yeah, it isn't going to be easy.
Right. Okay. I think that's about everything. Thanks for the time, and
Okay,
take care.
caller. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I'm going to take two more callers. So if you've been on hold for more than 1 hour, I'm going to get to you. If you've been on hold for less than half an hour, I'm not going to be able to get to you. So, because I have to wrap this up. And for those who are saying when I refer to making pizza that I'm not fasting, have you ever heard of marinara pizza? Ooh, got you. That's right. Marinara pizza doesn't have any cheese. And in the Armenian church, olive oil is permitted. Boom. Giddy up. All right, two more callers. Two more. I'm going to get you guys. You've been holding forever. Okay. All right, caller, you're now live.
Hey, Roosh, what's up?
How are you doing? And where are you calling from?
SoCal.
Another California. You're like the fifth one. Nice.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you a quick question about. Hold on. Yeah, I just had a quick question about something that you talked about near the end of your tour in the U.S. I was watching your speech that you gave the other day, and you talked about everyone having a number or something. Every U.S.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this referred to.
Nervous, but...
No, that's fine. This referred to the federal government ranking its citizens based on how they could be a threat to the state. So they have started to do this in the Vietnam War, where they were trying to evaluate some of the Vietnamese men if they're going to join the Communist Army. So they would kind of use all these multiple data sources to figure out your age and your background to see, are you going to be a threat? So something that was done on the military, now we have that to where the government has like a profile on us that they use AI and machine learning on to see if we're a threat to them. And if we are, then they start to interact with us, to apply assets to us to make sure that we do not harm them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm a dual citizen of the U.S. and another country. I'm white, but was having some weird stuff going on with the consulate that I was talking to in SoCal, and I was collecting like birth certificates of my family members because I need to get my other country's passport in Europe, and I was sending out requests and they would just get denied, or I would just get back these responses where they said that I did something wrong, and I know for a fact I didn't. Just all this like weird stuff was going on because I've been like, I don't hang out with any violent groups or any super far right groups, but I just have been talking to some of my friends that are streamers on Trovo and the like, that are kind of right leaning, that are kind of like AF, and I just wanted to know like how likely is it that someone, if you're just nonviolent, you're not trying to meet up in person, how likely is it that you're put on like some sort of watch list, or that your interactions with the government are, tampered with? Maybe that sounds paranoid, but
well, didn't you hear that anyone who voted for Trump, 70 million people, they're racist, extreme right wing, and so on? So, I mean, but one thing I want to ask you is, when you were sending requests, was it to that other country's consulate, or was it like the U.S. government?
No, I didn't have any issues with my other countries.
Okay, so it's like some kind of U.S. So the U.S. government is giving you a wall for something?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I worked it out. Okay. I just pushed through it.
So you're just trying to wonder. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I was just trying to wonder because I was sending in requests for my U.S. passport since my old one was outdated, and they were telling me that my photo was wrong, but I got my photo for my passport taken at the post office, and they kept telling me it was wrong. They gave me like all these different things I was trying to do with the U.S. government. They were telling me I was doing things wrong when I knew I wasn't. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Do you think it's solely because you're white?
I don't think that's why,
but I can tell you that they do social graphs, and these social graphs, it's like a network analysis of everyone that you've communicated with. They probably know the sites you watch, the alt-right sites you watch. Now, is that connected to some kind of government request for passport documents? I don't know. There's no way I can know. Is it possible? It's possible. But I would say, I mean, this to me sounds like it could be just a bureaucratic issue. Like a lot of people have this kind of problem. Are you kind of paranoid of maybe some of your online activities, that it's going to hurt you in some way? Or, I mean, because if you're not, I don't want to say if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have to worry. I mean, I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong, but I'm being banned everywhere. But there's not much you can really do until they start to hit you with the ability, oh, you can't fly, you can't buy a gun. The problem is all these lists and these scores they have on us, they don't allow us to counter them, to lodge a complaint, to appeal. So we're basically stuck.
No, I'm not doing anything illegal online. Yeah. I just talk to people that are
but you should be able to.
Crowd yeah, I should be able to. But I just thought it was so weird that I would send in a simple request for a birth certificate of a relative of mine to get this sorted away with my consulate, and they would just keep denying me. They would give me, like, I would have the copy of the birth certificate in my hands. I would read them out the number over the phone, and they would just tell me, oh yeah, well, that's in the system. I don't know why you were denied that. Or sometimes they would just hang up on me. They wouldn't answer my call. It's just all these different government offices that I was contacting to get just some basic documents.
Yeah, I don't know.
My relatives, they were just giving me weird stuff.
That is weird. So what else is going on?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that, but also I saw that you read, what is it? I have the book here. It's Orthodoxy and the Religion of the Future by Seraphim Rose.
Yes,
and
a blessed memory.
UFOs in there.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I thought his take on UFOs is really interesting because the only like sect of Christianity that you see talk about UFOs and claims that they're demonic is like Protestants, and people just kind of write them off as like Sola Scriptura. But that was interesting to see Seraphim Rose bring that up and mention people that I was looking at in kind of like ufology in general that were coming to the same conclusions. And I was reading like these secular authors like Jacques Vallée and Hynek, and then to see Seraphim Rose mention that and then put this together, I thought was really interesting. I don't know if you have anything to say about that. But
Yeah, so what Father Rose stated is that UFOs and alien sightings and kidnappings, it started at a specific time. It started at a time when this new consciousness of outer space science fiction started to rise, coinciding with the loss of faith and people looking for more worldly saviors and aliens, and Carl Sagan helped to push that and things like that. But he says that this is not a coincidence, that once the gates were open for people to seek these out, to be curious about UFOs and aliens, the demons took advantage. And he shows a couple of examples where having this demonic experience of an alien really mentally destroys people. It really hurts them. There was examples of it destroying people's faith, whatever small faith that they had, is losing total hope in God, belief in God. So if you were a demon and you know that doing a UFO sighting on someone who believed in UFOs or believed in aliens would destroy their faith, you would do it. It's and this says even before alien appearances, there's been many, ghosts and things like that. This is an old thing, that the old trick that the demons have done. It's just harnessed in a different way.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to bring up. I like your new book. It was pretty good. Yeah, thanks, Roosh.
Okay, thank you, caller. And don't worry, the government is not really out to get you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, bye. No, the government is out to get you. Okay, so the last caller made it. Caller, you're now live.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Caller, you have to mute the video and talk to me. I'm here with
Oh,
you.
yeah. Oh, there we go. Hey, Roosh.
You are the
What's
last
up?
caller. You made it in.
Oh.
How do you feel right now?
All right. I feel great.
Good.
I'm just glad I'm not behind Father Spyridon.
I'm sorry, man. You can't top that. I mean, just to be called by a spiritual elder that you follow on YouTube, man, that is like a miracle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just calling. Been watching you for a while because of I converted.
And where are you calling from?
I am calling from Ohio.
Oh, Ohio. Okay, great.
Yeah, so we're kind of communistic a bit. So we're in a bit of a police state with the masks. We got the mask Nazis out. I'm also a public school teacher, and they, I'll tell you what we have done to the students is just absolutely awful. I see them. They're just absolute zombies. We've actually been kind of hybrid, so we've been like a couple of days we're in person, then we do remote, and the students just ghost me during that time. It's awful. So yeah, we're coming out of it, and they're allowing us to go back full time starting Monday. So we'll see how that goes.
So I'm guessing you've been a teacher for a while. Have you seen the rise of these transgender kids? Has that affected your school?
Almost immediately. It was like the Bruce Jenner thing, and almost immediately.
What a coincidence, huh?
Yeah, it is. It absolutely overnight, and it's definitely a phenomenon. It seems like with girls more so than the boys.
Really?
At that age, so I teach middle school, and I mean, almost overnight, you would see girls holding hands down the hallway, and they'd all have girlfriends. And then, within a couple of years after that, we were getting emails, or the counselor would talk to us about preferred pronouns.
So you cannot misgender them, right? If a girl thinks she's a boy, you have to refer to it as a boy, or you lose your job, basically.
Exactly. So
Which
I have to.
sucks.
I basically just call the student by their first name every single time, and it gets annoying because I'm like, I can't keep up. I can't call them they or it or
Jure.
Yeah, exactly. The preferred pronouns. And students will start to dabble with that. We saw this especially with Zoom. They would change their names, their screen names. So it'd be I'm on with Roosh. My wife just walked in. She's like, "Who are you talking to?"
That's awesome. Hi, Roosh.
Hello. Tell her I said hi.
They'd change the pronouns or their names, their screen names. And we're like, what are we going to do with this?
Do you think this problem has peaked? Has it peaked? Are we going to see an improvement, or do you think we haven't peaked?
I kind of sense that it's getting. I think the fad has started to wear off with a lot of these students, because it was just about shocking parents and teachers initially, and it's just a mess. I mean, let's see what I've got 17 years in now, and I'm to the point where I'm kind of I'm the veteran who doesn't care what they say kind of teacher in meetings. So I think I can feel my days are kind of numbered in education. I've tried to fight the good fight, and
But have you been able to see? Have you been able from the inside to be a positive influence? You think, or is just the sea of evil? You have good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because I'm very much a straight shooter with my students, and they do not like, especially at that age, they do not like people who are kind of indecisive or talk out of both sides of their mouth. So they, and I keep politics out of it entirely. But I'll tell you probably the biggest problem in public education is it's not necessarily the curriculum, it's publication. It's the books and the reading materials that we have to choose from. That's where the absolute brainwashing. It makes it so difficult. The more red pilled, the more based I get, the more difficult it is to assign, because I'm an English teacher, to assign, just reading assignments for them. I'm like, well, this is absolute garbage. This is not true at all. So the publication is what really makes it difficult.
So that kind of, even if you want to do some kind of good, the source materials are so bad. I'm guessing that soon the only books you're going to have to choose are, one is like a gay dinosaur and the other is transgender everything. And
exactly.
Man, and I must say that you're at the front lines of this. And people think I'm at the front lines. No, I'm in a comfortable home sitting in front of a camera. I'm in the front lines in some other kind of way, but you deal with this face to face. You deal with the other teachers, the administration, the kids who I'm guessing have zero parental guidance, whose parents are lost.
Zero.
So you're having to bear the brunt of this, and God bless you for doing that and for sharing your experiences. But yeah, I mean, you just kind of confirm a lot of what I already know, unfortunately. But you're actually connected to the previous caller. The previous caller was talking about UFOs. And I said once the science fiction started, then everyone started to see UFOs. And you said once
exactly.
Bruce Jenner was on the TV and the media is lavishing him with praise, suddenly everyone is trans. So it's the same thing. Once that gate is open, then it starts. And this corruption is just grinding people down. And I hope those kids that you work with, I know once they're done with experimenting or shocking the teachers, they turn away from it. Because you know, as I know, that if a kid really goes through with this, with the hormones, and they're in trouble.
That is absolutely awful. Yep. Because I can't imagine how confused they are at that age making a decision like that. I mean, they can't even decide what they want for lunch.
Have you met the parents of some of these kids? I mean, are they exactly how I imagine them to be? I mean,
absolutely.
It's I don't get it. Like, why are you hurting? I don't know. It's like they're hurting their own kids, but they don't know what they're doing. They just are they're just they think they're doing a good deed, right? They think they're being open-minded and so on.
Yes. Yeah, once you meet them, you just kind of think to yourself, well, that makes sense.
Okay, so
what did I expect?
So are you saying that I should probably homeschool?
Yeah. Well, so here's the deal. My school district that I'm in, it's fairly normal considering. I think it's just a lot of the conservative town, because it's basically the community that drives what happens there. So obviously, if it's a school district in like San Francisco, the parents are going to kind of drive this whole, whatever, drag queen story hour type stuff. So we're fairly normal. I read about this kind of craziness. And it seems like a lot of it's coming out of New York, Chicago, or somewhere out in California. And I mean, if you can find a good school district, but otherwise, I get it. I get why parents want to homeschool. I really do.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine.
You sound a bit down on what is going on. I mean, if I made you the president of the United States and you can pass one law that even the Democrats would approve, what do you think, from your perspective as a teacher, would be the most helpful?
Just entitlements. That is destroying our communities. That is destroying our town.
And by entitlements, you mean like welfare, yeah.
Right. I see what it has done to my town. As the poverty level goes up and the entitlements go up, the quality. How should I say this? The quality of life of our students goes down, and they just they feel like they cannot work their way out of it. You try to inspire students to work harder, get an education, get a great job, but they think this is my life. This is all I have to live for. So I might as well, go on welfare, have a bunch of kids.
Well, the bad news, friend, is as they move to this UBI concept, universal basic income, which is really a code word for welfare for everyone, slave, while you stay home and eat your carbs or whatever. I don't think that's going to get better. So,
exactly, it's just going to increase.
Well, let's all aboard the Ark. Let's build an Ark and just go in the Ark, and just. But God said He's not going to flood the earth again. But oh mercy. But anyway, yeah. So,
I know, but
the fact that a man like you exists, to me, that's the white pill. Is a man like you who knows the truth, who is in the system, who is making a difference in his way, and every soul you can reach, every child you steer just so slightly away from the road of gayness or sodomy, I mean, that makes a big difference. Like, you're making an impact on children who don't even know that they're being impacted. So, and I hope you can bear the brunt of, I'm sure, the difficulties with working in that kind of environment.
Yeah. Well, definitely finding the Orthodox faith has certainly helped.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And has your wife come on board? Has she become an ortho gal?
Yeah, that's always the question. She has not yet. She still has a lot of questions, and just a lot of I wouldn't say concerns, but just things that she can't really.
I'm guessing she has come from a Protestant background.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We both did.
And I can tell you, it's tough to go from a Protestant way of worshiping God to an Orthodox, which is an Eastern way. It is, for some people, it's going to take time. But God has allowed you to convert so that on the fast track, so that you can slowly, with love, get your wife, hopefully, on the slow track. And I think this is going to humble you in the process. So probably God has a plan for doing it in this way. But well, brother, good luck. I mean, just take it one day at a time. In this sense, just let your faith guide you one day at a time. Because you're measuring things on every interaction, every class. So.
Right.
Yeah. But good luck to you.
I appreciate talking to you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Enjoy your fast pizza.
My marinara pizza. But I can put a little bit of cheese on it, right? I mean, just like a couple grams, just to give it that taste. No, I'm joking.
Cheese is hard to give up.
Cheese is hard. Okay, friend. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we are done with callers. We're now 4 hours. So there's one caller who's on hold. Sorry, caller, I can't get to you. Okay, we went 3 hours, 50 minutes. Thank you. Now, the highlight, if you're just joining in, is an Orthodox priest, Father Spyridon, called me. We had a nice chat. So when I upload the replay, you can listen. I asked him some questions and so on. So now I'm going to make a marinara pizza, guys. No cheese on it because it's fasting day and my faith is so strong. Ooh, it's tough. Yeah, marinara pizza. That sounds delicious. So anyway, thank you to all of the callers. I hope I gave some aid, some fellowship, whatever you were searching for. I hope I helped. Thank you for everyone in the chat. I got, I think, one super chat from European Canon. He said, hope you are having a great Lent. Roosh, God bless. Thank you. And again, this stream was brought to you by my new book, American Pilgrim. You can buy it where paperbacks are sold or go to rooshvstore.com. Thankfully, Christians who have read it are getting some value out of it. I've said many nice things. So I think I wrote a good book. Thank you all. God bless. I hope the remainder of your Lent, or some of you are just starting, the Armenians were done in first week of April. I hope your Lent goes well. I hope your Lent is spiritually profitable. God bless you. Goodbye now.